fourscore and 7 years ago, I was possessed by the spirit of Andrew Jackson, which means I have a propensity to shoot foreigners and people with bad positions of power.
Hello, everybody. We're
in a giddy mood, if you can't tell.
We're giddy in that
stupid people need to
when did I
mocked, really.
When did I call you this morning? Around like noon. It was like noon.
If you call me in the morning, I'm going to kick your ass.
No, I know, but well, earlier today, I was just like, we had to react to this. And we were watching the video that we're going to react to here. And I realized very quickly after we spent 2 hours talking about 6 minutes of it, we should probably just stream this. Well, you and I collectively realized that, I think. So, Twitter drama. It's always stupid. And yet, often also very funny. Yeah. So, I wanted to cover a little bit of this. You did as well, because it's just so emblematic of the terrible arguments that we receive from the left, ourselves, other people on the. I'm saying right very broadly, and we thought we'd stream a little early so we don't stream over Adam and Sitch, as I try not to normally do that. And it was a Twitter spat that occurred between just some guy who's a YouTuber with about 200,000 subscribers, and friend of the show, V, who most of you, I would assume, probably know, but if you don't, he's a Romanian YouTuber. He's been
Romanian
friends
genius,
with...
basically.
He's an incredibly smart guy. He's a lawyer and a doctor, and a shit poster.
Yeah.
And not someone you can easily put into a category for a lot of... Right, for many of those reasons.
Which is really funny because what V said wasn't even a shitpost.
No, V said something actually...
a shitpost because some jackass decided to say some dumb shit on it.
So, again, Just Some Guy is somebody who, if you're not aware, came up through Comicsgate, or through the Comicsgate kind of community, covering the problems in modern media. And I have been a fan of his videos for a long time. But something that I noticed that started to happen about 2 years ago was Just Some Guy seemingly had a reactance-like effect to the fact that the majority of his audience were conservative-leaning people, because he was talking about, almost exclusively, problems in media that were induced by the left. He has been heavily criticized for this. I don't know if he's lost a ton of subscribers for it, really. And in fact, mostly what I saw in response to his video that we're going to take a look at in reaction to this Twitter thread, it's people just saying, I wish you guys wouldn't fight, which is about what I've seen every single time he's gotten into a fight. Well, yes, I am sharing my screen.
Yeah.
I should bring this up. But I want to point out, and we might watch a little bit of another video from a guy called Almighty Lolly, who made a 50-minute long video. Again, we're not going to watch all of that for sure, and I highly suggest you do go watch that. Is that this has become a pattern of behavior with Just Some Guy. What he does is he just takes like a swipe at someone on social media, on Twitter, where he basically calls him a fascist or a Nazi or something, or some pedantic nonsense accusation such as that. And then people get mad at him, and then he gets mad that people are mad at him. This has been he's been doing now for the last 2 years.
I will do a video on him, but I will just straight up call him an idiot. Because I saw his take, I was like, what the hell are you smoking that you think this? This is like insanely stupid. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's a very silly thing to do, considering, as you can see here, he gets ratioed every time he does it. I mean, I can't remember anytime he's done this within memory, when he hasn't just gotten ratioed, because, and I do feel bad, if you can see V, have you not followed me back? I specifically pointed this out to you earlier, V, that what's happening here over the side of the screen. But Just Some Guy does, because I used to, I still actually think that Just Some Guy makes good videos, by the way. I have watched some of his...
You're basically chasing V's follow.
And I just follow me
Follow
back.
me, you damn Romanian asshole.
Just follow me back, dude. What are you doing? We talk all the time. Follow me back. I don't have a problem with Just Some Guy's reviews, because, by the way, I think he's done... This is what's confusing. I told you this earlier.
I want Harry from the Lotus to just follow me. Because he and I talk to him all the time, actually.
It's that, for example, Just Some Guy's reviews of the Rings of Power were really good. No. His reviews of the Rings of Power are really good, because Just Some Guy is somebody who knows a hell of a lot about Tolkien and has a lot of respect for Tolkien. So his media reviews are, I would say, very good. But the problem is that then he talks about politics. And his political views are very... I'm going to say... Okay, so there's a difference between being stupid and ignorant. And stupid is... Yes. So being ignorant means you just haven't been... Being ignorant means you haven't been informed. Being stupid is meaning you don't have the capacity to be informed, right? I would say Just Some Guy is seemingly purposefully ignorant on politics, but then feels the need to comment on it anyway. And I think a lot of the reason why he does that, this is just my... Look, I'm being solipsistic. I mind reading a little bit. He didn't want to be associated with the right wing, because when he talks about the right wing, he is very much talking about the 2000s era Bush conservative kind of sphere. He's thinking Satanic Panic. He's thinking Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He's thinking the Patriot Act. Things I'm not particularly in favor of either, by the way. Although a lot of the Christian conservatives in the 90s were right about a lot of that stuff being a slippery slope. That being said, I don't think he's evolved politically outside of conservatives are bad and evil.
Yes, you can't tell Aiden is in a polite way saying he's narrow-minded.
Sure. I would agree. I think that he's narrow-minded with his politics. I think, which is frustrating when you're talking about somebody who has really good takes on media, particularly and noticing leftist BS in media. But then the second it comes to anything outside of a TV show or comic book, it's like he just doesn't get it. And for this reason, he's been doing silly things for a couple of years now. And I do not mean this stream in any hate towards Just Some Guy, JSG.
I might do.
It's just that, well, I don't. But maybe don't
Aiden
say
is nice.
stupid things.
I don't give it that.
I don't know.
Aiden is always sweet and diplomatic, and I'm just more... Yeah, if you say dumb shit, I'm just going to mock you for being stupid. I don't have anything beyond that, really.
Because I am going to get a little bit more assertive here when we start to talk about this Twitter thread. And again, Spoon and I were talking about it, and eventually we're like, we should just stream this, since it was too funny. It was too much stuff.
You guys should hear what the shit Aiden says when she's not on stream.
Well, I'm gonna repeat most of it, because
you say things that I know you wouldn't say on stream ever.
No, because I'm trying to be a little bit more diplomatic, but
yes,
whereas
I
it's different when I'm talking to you in private as your friend. Okay, why do you have to throw shade on me like that, sir?
No, I'm just saying you're more based off stream.
I'm less diplomatic off stream for sure, because I'm talking to you, my friend, Aiden, in private.
If you ask Aiden, I say almost everything I say on stream, I say on behind the scenes. Because there's very little difference between me behind the stream.
But I'm a woman, so I'm trying
on stream. Like, yeah, I basically can't say certain things because the channel might get demonetized.
Hang on. It's not that I'm like two-faced. Let me put it this way.
No. She's hard on stream and harder off stream. Put it that way.
Yes. That's thank you. I think that I just want to make sure that you're not portraying me as being like saying a bunch of like dropping a bunch of N-bombs and stuff, about this guy.
No, that's what I do.
I know. Okay, so here is the Twitter thread that happened a couple days ago.
Turn the volume up on me. I'm too quiet. Jesus Christ.
Well, you did say you turned your volume down, didn't you?
Well, I had to turn it up a little bit because it was basically on mute.
Am I a chicken? Yeah, a little bit. But it's more that I just don't want to be mean.
It was on 74%. That's probably why.
I don't like to be mean to people. But when you've done something really silly, I am going to make fun of it. So here's what happened.
Why does that name sound familiar?
That's, he's the video game reviewer who became a transgender and basically destroyed his career.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
James Stephanie Sterling now, please.
I'm having an open conversation. I'm aware that we're having an open conversation, but I just I just don't give a damn. At this
by the
point in
way,
time, I've long since stopped giving a crap what the hell people think. You either like me or go to hell.
For example, I didn't even notice that Vito Griswoldi was in our chat when we were talking to Ethan Van Sciver, and he was just. I looked at some of the chat just today. I didn't look through all of it, but I didn't notice he was in the chat because we had a guest on, so I was paying attention to our guest and interacting with him, and not looking at the chat as much as I might normally.
Since when did Romanians get internet? Since Andrew Tate moved there.
Bruh. And he was just like in the chat calling me an idiot, saying I can't understand satire. And it's like, you know what, Vito, get mad if you want to. When it comes to my opinions on movies, I'm really not going to look. I didn't like the Barbie movie. I've talked at length about it. I'm kind of done, but I'm not going to think. I'm not going to base my opinions and my understanding of my own ability to comprehend satire on the perspective of some on the perspective of some guy who supported cuties and thinks it's a great piece of art. No, thank you.
Wait, not doing that. Cuties? Oh, that's kind of cringe. And I'm being mild.
He not just a little bit. Not that he thought it was a good movie. He has been since it came out, like on a rampage on why it's such a good movie.
I mean, I saw one picture of him because I went to go see what his channel looked like, and I went, dude, you look like every fat neckbeard dude who likes little kids. Like, you look like the stereotype of everyone you would ever see with a mugshot that was arrested for CP.
But I bring that up because if anyone involved in this sees the stream and wants to hop in, there is an open invitation. So.
This one?
Oh, if V or if JSG wants to come on, I'm more than happy for that. I don't have any problem. But anywho, because I just found this conversation interesting, and then the video responses started, right? And that's where it was like, oh, we have to.
And yes, I will do. I want to
react to it. So V says on the 27th of July, he says the difference between left and right is that the left believes in equality, the right believes in quality.
Which is pretty based, by the way. And
I agree.
That's a good quote.
I think that is a good quote, and I think it's accurate.
It's witty, too.
Quality meaning meritocracy, right?
Yes.
That you're judged by the quality of what you produce, by the quality of what you contribute to society. That is true.
Insane. This is the most normal, obvious take ever.
Yeah. The left believes in equality, which always devolves into equity, because pure equality cannot exist.
It doesn't exist anywhere in the real world.
No, it doesn't exist anywhere in the real world. Because you cannot have two human beings that are identical. Even identical twins are not identical in terms of what they do in their lives. That's just not how it works. So equality can't exist. So then what the left tries to move from, while still calling it equality, is equity, which is forcing equality in a Harrison Bergeron-esque fashion by tearing down the successful and raising up the unsuccessful. And V is completely correct in that what the right is concerned with is meritocracy, quality. Now, this is going to become a question here in a minute. So what I'd like to do is go to dictionary.com. Actually, we'll do it here. We'll go right here. Go to thesaurus, merit. And we're going to look for synonyms. I need the thesaurus. I just found this earlier. Come on, dude. I was hoping for this to be more. Oh, it's because it cut me off. Okay, thank you. That was very cool. Merit, synonyms, benefit, dignity, excellence, integrity, quality. Quality. Yeah. It's right here in the dictionary.com definition of merit. And a system that is based on merit is a meritocracy. So it would be a system based on quality. All right? Just saying, like, this is not difficult. The definition of merit is synonymous with quality. So in response to V's tweet, saying the difference between the left and the right is that the left believes in equality, which is it doesn't exist, so therefore it becomes equity, which is the forcing of people of higher quality down and the forcing of people of lower quality in terms of skills or whatever it be up. That is equity. equity, and it is enforced, and it can only be enforced by governments or other outside
Merit
systems.
over memories.
Thank you, intellectual iconoclasm for two. Hashtag merit over memories. Based. Just some guy quote tweets this and says, "It's funny that the right were saying the same thing in Europe over 100 years ago. I wonder if that's why they built those camps where people could concentrate, to build up their quality." So over this, I would say, quite innocuous statement, which is also true.
Yes.
From V.
The thing, there's nothing really political about this statement. It's
No,
just like it's just
really.
a matter of fact. Yes.
He just... I don't think there's anything political about it particularly.
Yes.
I mean, there is some inherently political thing because he's saying left and right, so yes. But these are two different ways of viewing the world. Is that we have to make everyone equal, or we have to care about the quality of what those people produce and what those people do and who they are.
And they're contradictory.
And this is a difference.
Because
you can't have both.
Yes. It's like freedom and equality. People are free, they're not equal.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know how people don't see this as just like, duh.
So, just some guy responds by accusing V, indirectly, but only vaguely indirectly, of being a Nazi. Of supporting Nazi ideology. I mean, we all know what there's no vagary here, right? Same thing in Europe 100 years ago, concentration camps to build up their quality. Now, this is my immediate issue here is, were the Nazis trying to build up the quality of the gypsies and the Jews?
I think the German people maybe of just getting rid of people.
Well, okay, let's talk about it. So, the Germans first wanted the gypsies and Jews and Eastern Europeans, of which V might technically be considered a part of. And he's like Central Eastern European, Romania is. But he would probably be considered an Untermensch by the Nazis, right? Romania has suffered under Nazi violence and a lot of communist violence. So for an American to say this is a little bit curious, but we'll get to that later. The Germans weren't first of all, they told people basically to get out. And then when they didn't, they put them into these labor camps, right? Which were to concentrate people that they viewed as unhygienic. And yeah, they sprayed them with delousing agents. And yes, many millions of people died in these camps. That's unquestionable. The purpose of those camps was not to raise up the quality. It was not to raise up the quality so that everyone was equal in German society, was it? It was to exterminate people seen
if you're trying to make an Ubermensch,
none of the same quality.
To say equality is the way to get to that.
It wasn't to build up their quality. I mean, I know that's what he's mocking, but where it's going to get ridiculous is that he's going to then ignore communist pogroms that were designed to do that, okay? To equalize society. That was not the purpose of the Nazi Holocaust, right? That was to exterminate people that they saw as the Untermensch, right? So then V comes back and says, if you're going to cherry pick extremes, then we can look at the Great Leap Forward. So again, just some guy has started out. First response starts out Nazis. Immediately concentration camps. Immediately Holocaust. V comes back. Okay, if you're going to pick extreme examples, then we can look at the Great Leap Forward, as well as the gulags and decolonization. Now, what was the purpose in those individual societies for the Great Leap Forward, the gulags, and decolonization? Decolonization, specifically, let's talk about that. Decolonization was what were the kulaks, Spoon?
But the farmers, weren't they?
They were wealthy farmers who owned more than 1 acre of land. And decolonization was to equalize people under the Soviet Union.
Get rid of people who make your food. Zimbabwe tried that. How does that work out for you? Doesn't work out well.
So they took the land that was owned by the kulaks, the wealthy farmers, and they redistributed it. They made it equal. And what happened was people starved. What was the Great Leap Forward? Why specifically did so many people starve in the Great Leap Forward, which was, again, was about equalization of the people? It was because the Chinese adopted the idea of Lysenkoism. And the core tenet of Lysenkoism, which came from the Soviets, was that plants of the same type would not compete with one another because they were all equals. And in the same way, they took land owned by wealthy landowners and farmers and redistributed it to people who had no background nor history in farming. That's equalizing things. JSG, that's equality. The Great Leap Forward was the greatest loss of human life in human history as a singular event. So if you're going to pull out the Holocaust as a group of people trying to be to build up the quality of the people, then you have to also address the Great Leap Forward being that same thing, to build up the equality of the people, because you're supporting equality here, right? And the moves to promote maximal equality were decolonization and the Great Leap Forward. And they led to two of the most devastating losses of life in human history. Now, you'd think, I mean, V is completely correct there. Also gulags, which were to take often wealthy members of the intelligentsia, of academia, of the aristocracy, and you put them in prison to equalize by removing those who had existing wealth, confiscating their wealth, confiscating their belongings for the purpose of Spoon.
Sorry, what? I was confused.
Why did they put people in gulags? Besides the fact, no, outside of the centers, why did they put people in gulags and confiscate their wealth?
Well, it's the quest for equality, I would imagine, is one of them.
Equalization. We're gonna redistribute
Right.
equality.
I'm actually kind of curious as to what was the percentage of equality versus dissidence. I don't actually know. But yes, I would thought like the main reason for the gulags is like dissidence.
Largely speaking, but they also just they confiscated the wealth wealth of the wealthy.
It says something a lot about your population if your first is not to learn from the smart people, but just to cull them. That's kind of stupid if you just look at it from that. Hey, look, here's the better people in your society. Why don't you get the if you have the power, why don't you, instead of just taking all their shit, institute some way of getting the lesser people to learn from them, rather than just taking all of their wealth? That doesn't make any sense, even from just like a basic capitalistic perspective. The best people in society, those are the people you learn from. You don't take their shit, like, because how are you going to produce? Like, if those are the people that produce all the stuff in your society, those are the people you learn from. You don't take their shit. Like, how do they produce more stuff then?
Right, exactly. As V continues here, the funny thing is that you can have quality without genocide, but you can't have equality at all, because two brothers in the same household aren't equal. No two people are equal. No individual person is equal to himself, given the time of day or the day in question. Sometimes we're infirm. Sometimes I'm sick and I'm not as energetic or able to think as well as other days. And that occurs that's for everybody. The idea of equality means that we must all be equal at all times. It is the Harrison-Bergeron paradigm, which means that to obtain equality, you must tear down the superior people who are born with superior capabilities, or who have gained superior skills, or have cultivated superior wealth. You must destroy them and raise up people who, or at least do nothing to people who don't have that, so that everyone is equally miserable. That is equity. It is what equality leads to every single time. It's why V specifically brought up these examples: Great Leap Forward, gulags, and decolonization. Because V has a knowledge of history.
Why on earth would you want a society of that?
Because then we're all gray NPCs and we're all the same. And it's like,
just think about that. Why on earth would you want a society where everyone is exactly the same? Doesn't that just sound boring and depressing as shit?
But you can't make people exactly the same,
why on earth did anyone think this would be a good idea? It just sounds insane.
If you
Why
want
would you
my
want
opinion,
that for society?
I think people there's a couple of kinds of people who advocate for this. There's the people who are genuinely concerned. People who are genuinely concerned for those who are of lower status, who have a lot of misfortune in their lives and really have not had the opportunities of those in higher status.
I don't think those people exist.
Yes, they do. I know a couple of them. They Spoon. I know them. I know a couple of them. They genuinely do.
Okay,
but they are very.
How many of them? How many of those people run
unicorns?
How many of those people run like a charity?
They don't run anything.
Or actually give away.
Some of them do,
okay.
But they are few and they're very few and far between.
Okay, here's my metric for this. If you're someone who believes in the less fortunate, you share your wealth voluntarily. If you're someone who thinks somebody else should, you're a tyrant. Simple as that. Very, very basic. If you believe that you can help the less fortunate, you do it yourself. If you believe that you should do it through the state or any other power apparatus, then you're just some jackass who wants to use the wealth of others for your own virtuous glory. And that's it.
Maybe. I mean, I do think that, however, Spoon, there are altruistic people out there.
Yeah, but not with somebody else's money. That's my metric.
Once someone else's money gets involved in it, I'm not sure. Yeah,
exactly.
There are altruistic people out there though who they don't want. They really do just want to help people. They're not out for themselves. Everyone is out for themselves a little bit, but there are altruistic people out there, and unfortunately, those truly altruistic people, they get taken for a ride by those who want power every single time.
Yes, it's almost like it's a pattern of behavior.
Yeah. We're going to talk about patterns of behavior tonight.
Yeah, I said this to Aiden before the stream. Yeah. If you were to analyze the world with no politics and you just rationally looked at easily observable things in the world, you would become right wing just by default. The only thing that makes you politics is indoctrination of the left. And in any other circumstance, you would be a right winger by default.
If you truly. Equality can't exist. It's farcical. It's prima facie, on its face, it doesn't make sense. Because you can have, so for example, we have a plethora of data on twins raised apart, right? And we find that twins raised apart have very different outcomes often. They can even have different IQ scores, even though they shouldn't have vastly different IQ scores, but they can have statistically significant IQ scores, and that's due to nutritional factors, factors of the way that they were raised, factors of environment, just to put it most simply. So even something that is genetically, that was more clear. To people who are genetically identical, the most equal people that exist are not equal.
Of course, that's kind of
at
obvious.
all. So this is why the idea of equality is farcical and silly and stupid. As V correctly points out, just some guy responds saying, yes, the cherry-picked case of 20th century Europe supporting the culling of undesirables. So he's being sarcastic, saying that him bringing up Nazi Germany is that being cherry-picked is funny or something. It's not. He's sarcastically saying it's not cherry-picked. But then V coming back to him and saying, well, here's examples of things that the left has done.
It's basically authoritarian, regardless of whatever the political spectrum. And
so
frankly, I don't think there's much of a distinction between the fascists and the communists. There's a lot of overlap between them. I said this before as well.
Is.
I find it strange. Yeah. I actually had a conversation with Dev about this because in a previous video I said, can you explain to me, when it comes to political affiliation, say center-left and center-right, it's usually an amalgamation of a numerical representation of positions that either swing you left or right. Hence why it's called center-left or center-right. And then I said, are they weighted equally, or are some positions so heavy that they can pull you across the spectrum or even to the other side? So the example I gave is, say you took someone that is like extremely left-leaning in terms of, say, they want welfare, they want free college, free healthcare, free housing, all the stuff that a cliche lefty would want, right? But when it comes to immigration,
gimme.
But when it comes to immigration, they are like insanely authoritarian. They're like, no one is allowed to come into our nation, and we will patrol our borders with like fucking nuclear-enhanced hawks. Like if they identify a foreigner, they're basically gonna vaporize them like a fallout laser rifle. So tell me, is that position being so egregious, does that drag you all the way now to the other side? Because what I found really weird is with the fascists and the communists is that they're basically the same for most part, but then you sprinkle in a bit of nationalism and suddenly you become right-wing. It's like, what the hell, how?
The totalitarianism aspect is the same. They are both totalitarian ideologies. So, you know, the thing is, people often say that fascism is a far-right ideology. It's not. It's actually kind of, it's up in terms of power on the political spectrum, but it's actually kind of center-right because it has socialist elements, because it's like, we'll nationalize everything, which does mean that the people are going to, the state is going to control business. That's a more of a left-leaning position economically. And fascist governments have also typically, though, however, been ethnically oriented. And so that's what puts them more to the right and more focused on family and structure and things like that, hierarchy. Whereas communism is ultimately also has an element of hierarchy in it, of course, because the people in the party are the ones who have to be abided by.
There's loyalty to the
regime. But it still involves, nationalization of all industries. You and I are way further right of the fascists because we're monarchists, which is as far right as it goes in terms of that element, right? And I'm not ashamed to say that. I know the left likes to use that as a slur, but to say far right, boogeyman, right? The reality is that Ismail and I are way further right than any fascist because we're monarchists.
Yes.
That's because the fascists of Nazi Germany were up center right. Do you know what I mean? So they're closer to the left than we are. Just saying, or were, you know. I'm not talking about, this is not horseshoe theory. I'm talking about actually applying the political compass in a rational, reasonable way. All right?
Yeah.
We're not anywhere near fascists.
Yes. It's because they basically...
Clearly, I'm not.
They basically think if something is not democratic, therefore it must be fascist.
Yes.
Which to me is just so... This is a bit that I don't understand. These people seem to think if the people aren't involved... If the person wields, in this case, absolute power, it has no bearing on how the country is actually structured or run. That's the thing that I just find insane. It's like, if we have democracy, the country will be better. Democracy is just picking your leader. There's nothing in democracy that says your leader chosen can't be a tyrant. This is why this idea that, if you get democracy, you'll somehow get more benevolent government. Like, no. That's insane. But
that's a hope.
Yeah, but that's like a 20th century perspective. It's just like, the democratic revolution is we get to pick, therefore we can get good leaders. Like, no, that's not how this works at all.
And as we've said over and over again, the founders themselves were skeptical of that, and they were like,
I am far right because I exercise.
Yeah, well, we are far right.
Aiden is far right in spite of exercising.
I'm further right than you on our political compass test.
Yeah, and I really hate that. It kind of bugs me.
I know. but I'm not... This is the misnomer, that because I am far right, and I am, that I must be a Nazi. No. The Nazis are far further left than me. I'm a monarchist. I'm way further right than you.
Someone said, speaking of Dev, did you hear his unhinged rant against Moberg last night? Oh, dude, Dev's take on Moberg is absurd.
I'm not...
Yeah...
I'm not particularly interested until Dev releases his video on Moldbug, at which point I'm going to invite Moldbug on to talk about it. And then but Dev won't release that video. I would love for him to, because I'd love to have Moldbug on to talk about it. But
again, this is the thing. These people live in this really, really weird world where they think, I want positions X, Y, like this is like James Lindsay sort of thing. It's like, I want positions X, Y, and Z. I want these people to have freedom, this group to have freedom to do whatever they want. But there comes a point...
Liberty is my key.
Yeah,
hold
on a second, Ada, I'm still talking, for God's sake. Calm down.
Study.
Right? And if you look at these kind of things, you want to go, these groups, or whatever entity sort of powers these people into positions of, you can do X, Y, and Z in society. you sort of look at that and you realize whatever power is behind the capacity to push these people into positions also has the position then, or the power rather, to push the needle further and further and further. And the problem of it is if you look at all those groups attaining political power, you will ask yourself, is this in any way beneficial for society beyond moving the political needle? And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because you start to look at it and go, no. Because if you sort of go, this is why you should read all the literature, and also where it gets kind of creepy, because you will look at that and go, the people who said, there's a reason why you sort of alienate gay people, it's because this will happen. There's a reason why you segregate this particular group of people, because this will happen. And that, if you sort of look at it from the perspective of, what is this doing outside of political structures? Because you'll realize
let's look at who's been right.
Yes,
who's been right in terms of the predictions on that, too.
But if you sort of look at all of these things that were removed, basically you're looking at like a fence. And you thought, well, we could just remove this fence because the fence is oppressive. Well, the oppressive fence sort of framework is only political. If you look at it outside of politics, you go, there's actually a reason for this fence to be here. Because you think, oh, this is oppressing people. Yet, to you it's oppressive, and then you think, well, if you give these people freedom, because freedom in your world of politics is good, and if you look at what happens to if you give them freedom, and you don't have the responsibility of all the people that already have it, it tends to go really haywire, and then you have a group of people that have really, really high crime rates that utterly destroy society. And nobody wants to go, yeah, do you think this was maybe the reason why that group was held down? It's not because of some political oppression of racism. No, it's because they're not fit to be here. And that's where it gets really, really uncomfortable, because you don't really want to have that discussion, because...
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Yes, but you want to look at it and go, do you see the people who warned you about this? And it's funny, if you read the people who speak like this, they don't speak about race. They literally just speak about habits. And just look what these group of people do. They don't behave like the people who have this freedom that you speak of, and if you give it to them, shit's gonna get really, really ugly. And then you see this shit getting really, really ugly, and people go, oh, that's normal. And then you read the literature of the people who said this like 60 years ago, and you go, ooh, there's a reason why these people weren't allowed to say this, because they actually had a fucking point.
60 years ago, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Again, it's very uncomfortable, but...
It is uncomfortable, but unfortunately, like, you have to... And the way that they make it more uncomfortable is by doing things like rescinding the Nobel Prizes of former winners, because now it's not that their work is wrong, it's just that it's now politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Which, that's concerning specifically race and IQ, which I don't think is necessarily something that super comes into this. But the idea that this democratic society is somehow so much better, we've gone off a little weeds a little bit here. I want to go back to this thread.
Yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say is this is the reason why if you remove politics and you just sort of look, like, everyone can look, like, okay, this is an example. Everyone can look at IQ tests, at statistical averages, at crime rates, at family structure, and see, you can know, or you can see very quickly which group is on top of society, which one is bottom, and why. It doesn't not take a rocket science, but it does take a political jackass to try and excuse the behavior. When literally anyone, even people of their own freaking group, can see it's bad.
Well, and yes, exactly.
And that's what drives people of that group insane.
It sure does, because you and I talk about this all the time, that, like, you know... who would you say is your you know, amongst your, well, you know what I'm about to ask, a favorite political scholar of yours?
What Thomas
Someone
Sowell?
Thomas Sowell, someone who is I is so incredibly politically erudite that I feel stupid when I read his work. I also feel stupid when I read Moldbug, but I feel stupid when I read a lot of things. It's not deterministic, and that's the part that really twists people up, where it's like, hey, we're talking about groups, and this is what I hear a lot of people say about this conversation, is that Just Some Guy is talking about groups, and V is talking about individuals. I don't think that's actually accurate. I think Just Some Guy honestly has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of scattershot. Like
they're talking past each other because just some guy has talking points. V is trying to communicate with him as an individual, and I think that's not working over the political animus that exists inherent, and he can't get past that. So again, going back into this, just some guy says, you cherry-picked the case of 20th century Europe supporting the culling of undesirable. Yes, the cherry-picked case of the 20th century Europe supporting the culling of undesirables. Doesn't address the Great Leap Forward. Doesn't address decolonization at all. I get it's Twitter, but still, it's a little suspicious when there's no addressing of the actual point. The funny thing, and I would imagine, and I don't mean this, I mean it not to be rude, but I don't know if just some guy knows what decolonization or gulags or the Great Leap Forward are.
Wait a second.
He knows Nazis because Nazis are in media, and he's a media guy. He reviews films and TV shows. So he knows what Nazis are, but I don't know if he knows what happened in the Great Leap Forward. I'd be astonished if he knew what Lysenkoism was. I'd be astonished if he knew what the decolonization was. So he just looked at these words and this is I'm mind reading. I don't know. But my hypothesis is he probably didn't understand that bit. Or, and that's me being generous, that's my light side take. The dark side take is he just ignored it because it didn't fit his worldview. He then goes on to say, the funny thing is that you can have equality without genocide by valuing all people, but you can't have quality without assuming some people are more valuable than others. As I pointed out earlier, JSG, the genocides that V mentioned were all conducted under the name of equality. You cannot have quality, merit, without assuming that some people are more valuable than others. That's true because that's what merit is. And these words are synonymous.
Yes.
Because some people are more valuable than others in certain aspects. Look, am I valuable as a basketball player? No. Or as a track and field? Maybe at one point, but not anymore. I can't do that shit. My legs barely fucking work, okay? I can't do that. So my quality as an athlete is severely diminished. So I don't have that same quality. And therefore, I should not be hired as a track and field athlete as somebody compared to Spoon.
There is the fourth rank.
Well, compared to you, you're in good shape.
Thank
Like if you were to put us, same, but if you put the two of us up together on a lineup, it's like, which person do you want to become? Do you want to pick to choose on your volleyball or not, what do you call it, the dodgeball team? What do you want to pick? I'm last in line, okay? Because my quality is low. That's meritocracy. And it's for a reason, because I'm not going to help with your dodgeball team. I'm a hindrance in that capacity rather than an aid. Now, you want some help calculating statistics? Which one of us do you pick?
Her, obviously. Even I would.
Do you want to run a multiple level regression, multiple hierarchical regression analysis?
I don't even know what you just said.
Pick? How about a log linear analysis? We could do a log linear regression. How about we do an ANOVA? We could do a MANOVA. Who would you rather pick to do your ANOVA, MANOVA, log linear, hierarchical regression analysis?
How about we do an argument over the anatomy of the human body?
Phil just said it sounds like a bunch of communist gobbledygook. Exactly. But who would you rather have do your hierarchical regression analysis?
You.
Me or Spoon?
You.
Me. So that's quality. Spoon and I are like best friends, but we have different qualities in which we are greater or lesser than.
Yeah.
That's life.
If the Barbie argument is anything to go by me, because I have a penis. And therefore patriarchy will always win.
No, I'm making up words. No, I'm not. It might sound like I am, but I'm not. So I'm gonna hit the super chats after we get through the tweet portion before we get into the video. Because trust me, there's a video.
Also, V is right. The funny thing is, you can have quality without genocide, true, but you can't have equality at all because two brothers in the same household aren't equal. Yeah, because people are not freaking equal, even with themselves.
Mm.
It's like, you know.
Yeah, as I said starting out, And as you actually are the one who pointed out to me is that, you know, you're not always on your best game every day.
Yeah, of course not. And also, just because somebody is lacking now doesn't mean they will be lacking 5 years from now.
Exactly. You can always improve.
Yes, exactly. The argument of equality is just so mind-numbingly stupid.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who advocates for equality is out of his mind. Or gay.
That's why reasonably, V responds, WTF does that even mean? Do you value the arsonist as much as the firefighter? What an insane ideology. Holy shit.
Scroll down a bit, please.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
Just some guy, not getting the point, responds, WTF? Do arsonists / firefighters have to do with this? Because you're talking about quality. Are you suggesting the quality people you're talking about are criminals versus everyone else? Yes, in part.
Yeah, kind of.
In part, yes.
Because that's the good disparity of unequal. That's why it shows the disparate examples.
I just explained a very normal way in which myself and Spoon here are not equal. Okay? But quality, in terms of a simplistic way, yeah, would be a quality person, a quality citizen would be an arsonist versus a firefighter. He then continues, because I get the feeling next you'll want to tell me about the Jews. What a retarded ideology. Right back to the reductio ad Hitlerum, Godwin's law. This is not good argumentation. This is fallacy. It's fallacy through and through. This is not how you conduct a reasonable argument. Just saying Hitler. He's
just plain dumb.
Do you think so?
Yes. I think you have
or
to
is he too dumb to understand the argument? Because I don't think he's dumb. That's the thing. He's actually quite astute.
Yeah, I think he's plain dumb.
I've watched his content for years, and I think he has very erudite response. Like, this guy, like, speaks some Elvish, man. Like, he knows a lot about Lord of the Rings, like a ton about Lord of the Rings. And his arguments about Rings of Power have been excellent. And in fact, most of his media videos I quite like. So that's why I get irritated, is when I see someone...
It's a privileged fireman versus oppressed arsonist.
Doing stuff. Why are we talking about this?
Really good.
Mortis, Sylvia? Because I found it... Because Spoon and I were talking about it.
Because it's stupid and funny.
When we're talking about it for so long, we were like, we're just going to stream about it.
No.
Because I think we both found it interesting, and we thought you might find it interesting too.
I just found it retarded. I mean, I will straight up just say, like, at this point in time, like, if you've noticed, my videos have kind of been heavier on theme lately, because I'm just, like, sick of being polite, and now I'm just like, I'm just gonna call any one of you stupid retards when you behave like stupid retards. I'm done being polite about it. It's just like, no, these are the reasons why you're just pleb shit.
And another reason is, yeah, V is a friend of the show, and I like a lot of the content that Just Some Guy puts out. So I put it this way:
he's funnier.
Well, I told this to Spoon earlier, is that I like Just Some Guy's content when he's actually talking about, like,
something
movies
he actually knows about,
and that he knows about.
Yes.
But then when he talks about politics, it's some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. Yeah, he has. Yes, he's very upset about the Florida anti-grooming bill. That really broke him for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to put out my hypothesis yet, which is completely. Oh, I told you my completely baseless hypothesis.
You did?
Yeah, I did. But I'll get to it later. Video responds. He says, "You propose that we value everyone the same." Yeah, I did tell you, and I said it. I said, okay. When I see men who are otherwise intelligent say really stupid things, I smell pussy. Okay? I'm just saying, like, when I see a man who is otherwise intelligent, reasonable, logical, I smell the involvement of the femoid.
Are you sure it's not just low tide? We're awfully close to the beach.
I don't know. And I'm not, I said that's a completely baseless thing.
By the way, can we just point out that this is a woman who is telling you that if a man isn't anywhere near a woman, logic goes out the window.
That I've just seen it happen too many times where it's like, oh, that guy's pretty cool, and then he hooks up with a woman, and then it just goes
Or
to
a
shit.
woman.
What?
Sometimes it's woman, sometimes it's with quotation marks.
Yeah, sometimes it's a woman in quotation marks, right? I see it happen
triple
so
parentheses.
often, and I have no reason. I have no basis, no data, nothing. I'm just pulling that out of my ass. But it's
So was he.
yeah, clearly. But when I start to see irrationality, I mean,
I like the way
Okay,
you associate rationality or irrationality with a woman.
yeah, well, I have to show you this clip. I put it in a lot of my videos, but I can play this for a couple minutes here.
Gentlemen, I regret to
copy-
inform you, woman.
Women. This is just okay. Just give me a little
So you
moment.
see,
Greetings
as
from
soon as the
Kazakhstan.
Mayflower
Greetings from
arrived,
Kazakhstan.
Indians immediately attacked
That
the
should just be
boats,
the
saying,
I should be able to play
"You
a
gotta
little bit of
fight
this,
us,
right?
or
Yeah.
we'll go back to Europe and rape all your babies."
Hello, Margaret.
Who are you?
I am the Fairy of Womanhood.
Oh no!
That's right. Today's your special
It's your
day.
special day, Margaret.
Yes, today's the day I turn on your womb.
Not now. I'm in the middle of social.
Oh, Margaret, womanhood waits for no one. Now spread those legs.
And I love how it's
Here
all men
we
involved in this.
No, stop!
Of course, that makes it funny, yeah.
Because men can be funny.
Yeah, because men can be funny.
Margaret, do you have a problem with our forefathers' treatment of the savages?
And it's also proved with a little bit of careful angling with the camera. You can't tell this person's like 6'2".
Yeah, you can though. You can though, Bill.
No.
In
Good.
this shot, you can't.
All right, now
Maybe.
these godless assholes had the nerve.
You know, these godless assholes. There's
Base.
a reason I'm playing this. Just wait.
Clear out those cobwebs and fire up those ovaries.
Listen, Fairy. I don't want to become a woman here in the middle of class. Could we at least wait till I get home?
Oh, Margaret, there's nothing to be nervous about. The shedding of one's uterine lining is a symbolic transition from child.
I'm gonna get claimed for this. I don't care.
Nothing could be more natural. Now here I go.
Wait, no!
I'm sorry. I forgot about that part.
Okay,
This is not the part I wanted to get to.
I didn't see that one coming.
It's not the part I wanted to get to.
You have got this up. You can cut the...
Yeah. I don't know when goodbye rationality happens. It happens a couple times. Okay, so here's rationality. Here's rationality. This is the part I wanted to get to.
that
Who are
um.
you?
I'm rationality.
Rationality?
That's right, Margaret. Don't you think it's a little pointless to try and avoid an inevitable part of growing up?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Every woman has to menstruate. It's a part of life. And besides, there are plenty of cool things to come along with growing up.
So rationality explains why she needs to grow up. Yeah, and then this is the part I really wanted to get to. Is
Okay.
Thank you, rationality.
Goodbye, Margaret. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Rationality. Will I ever see you again?
I'm afraid not. You can't have both.
Bye, Rationality. Goodbye.
You can't have both,
Goodbye,
right?
Rationality.
you can't have both.
Goodbye, Rationality.
Goodbye. I don't know how that came up. Goodbye, rationality.
That
Oh.
that blood scene was kind of unexpected to say the
F's in
least.
the chat for 07's in the chat for rationality.
Pour one out for a real one.
So V continues, you propose that we value everyone the same, and I gave you an example of why that wouldn't work. In fact, he gave you like pretty horrifying examples of
what's
forced
the name of the clip? People
equalization.
want to know.
Oh, it's from The Whitest Kid You Know. just type in goodbye. You can also just
type
type in goodbye rationality, and that's what I typed in.
in WKUK, you'll find the whole.
Yeah, but WKUK, whitest kids you know. Rest in peace, Trevor. You were a real one. He really, yeah.
Came and went.
He did. He came and went. You propose that we.
Joke that only people get. Oh, once you watch the memorial.
Yeah, the memorial stream for Trevor, who unfortunately did pass away. You proposed that we value everyone the same, and I gave you an example of why that wouldn't work. In fact, you gave him 3 examples of why equalization is horrific. Yes, you wouldn't value a criminal. Yes, you wouldn't value a criminal over a law-abiding citizen in any normal ideology. Thank you, V. You wouldn't value, and he's like, well, why would you value? You would value an arsonist over a firefighter? Quality is all about criminality? Yeah, in part it is. That's your quality as a citizen.
Gotta say, just some guy, you're awfully pro-choice for it to have this stance.
I know. V continues, secondly, are you suggesting a firefighter and an arsonist are born that way? Also a good point. Thank you, V. Because he is seemingly suggesting that the arsonist and firefighter are born that way.
Aiden, if the chat is anything to go by, I think they're implying that I'm a bad influence on you.
What have you done?
Apparently you've grown worse, and this is my influence.
I've grown worse? How have I become worse?
I don't know, ask the chat.
I mean, yes, but would you like to be more specific?
I think it's more your influence, Bill.
Yeah, actually, I agree with that.
I've done nothing but improve this channel, in spite of your
You have.
Yes.
Bill writes all my
like
jokes.
75%,
like
I'm
most
like
of them.
25%.
When this entire idea for a stream was floated, I suggested that perhaps if you're going to be that, terminally online, the least you can do is die.
I was the one who did suggest we should hit him with a hammer.
Yes, Spoon was the one who suggested the thumbnail with the hammer.
Yeah.
Anywho, V continues.
I didn't even make it so that you're gonna hit him. It was more like a menacing one, and then Aiden just went like, "How about we just gently bonk him with a hammer?" Like, okay, that ended up looking better than I thought. Yeah, bonk. It's a funny word.
V continues. Finally, can we move away from World War II and Marvel movies? I know this conversation is happening on Twitter, but it's boring AF, which is true.
True. Yes.
Now, you would hope that this conversation would end here, but it didn't. It moved into videos. It moved into videos because, of course, it always freaking does. But before we get there, we got a lot of super chats. So I'm going to read through those, and then we're going to move into the video. Look, I'm not going to cover V's videos because they're included in Just Some Guy's video. They're not entirely perfectly clipped, but I don't think the clips that he makes are the damning evidence he thinks they are.
I think we should just watch them anyway because V is funny.
They are quite funny, but he includes the funniest parts.
Exactly, that's why we should watch it.
Do you want to watch V's videos? I don't have them up.
No, just watch it because he includes V's clips in the video.
Yeah, we'll just watch his. Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. No, we're agreed. All right.
Okay. I know what you meant by now. I thought you meant like the ones in the video that he included. Those were the funny ones.
Yeah. Son of Tiamat, who's been a member for 8 months. Hey, thank you, man. Says the Gypsy Carrier Pigeon. Yes, we all love V here. Gets it for £5. Says, you two doing a surprise stream? Yeah, we weren't anticipating it. I've enjoyed my time in Newcastle and shall return tomorrow, and JSG is flinging shit for the sake of it. I think so. And this is what I wanted to say, actually, is I did mention this earlier, but this has been a pattern of behavior for JSG now for a while, where he just like goes and flings shit at somebody on Twitter and then makes his normal videos on YouTube, then makes his occasional like cringe political videos, and then just goes back to normal making actual good videos. I don't get it. This is what he does. And by the way, I guarantee he's gonna be mad at me now. And Just Some Guy, I don't have a problem with you. I have a problem with this kind of discourse because I think this is not helpful to anybody. Okay.
Again, if you're gonna be terminally online, the least you can do is die.
Yeah. Did you hear Bill's? He says it. Bill says I didn't say it.
Make it funnier. If you're gonna be terminally online, at least be terminally ill.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, I agree with you, Kiza. Jarnaki for 5 says, I just hope JSG won't go full Jim Sterling. We'll see. But he appears to be on that path. I don't know. Lance for 2 says, Aiden turns in bigoted Bill off stream. Aiden turns in bigoted Bill off stream. I'm not sure. Oh, do I turn into bigoted Bill off stream? No, but I will tell you what happened. Bill, last night, you came to bed really late, and then you put your stinky armpit over my mouth, and it woke me up.
That would not have happened if you had not violated the treaty. That meant you weren't on my side of the bed.
You put your stinky pit right over my face. We're having we're domestic. You laughed like a motherfucker when I told you about that this morning, though, and don't lie about it. You thought it was the funniest shit. That you just went, your stinky pit right over my face, you asshole.
Sorry, I know that subtle thing happened to your people in the 40s. I'm going to give you some genetic memory flashback.
Minnesota for 5 says, Boss, JSG is a post-Occupy Wall Street conservative, i.e. liberty and rule of law, small federal government et al. But he's deeply insecure about it. I think he is very insecure about it. And I think it's a lot of insecurities. I think that's all of his turns have been out of insecurity.
He's not just some guy. He's literally wearing his imposter syndrome on his sleeve.
I think he really is afraid of being called a conservative. And I think that almost all of these behaviors are out of that fear.
Why on earth would you be afraid of being called a conservative? Conservatives are base, whereas leftists are cringe and gay.
But I'm telling you why is because his idea of conservative is a Bushian era, satanic panic conservative who wants to destroy media.
That's
right?
because he's a moron.
Yeah, but still. Kizza for £5 says, objection, Spoon/Aiden, equality only exists in one domain, which is death. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that's why I said equality doesn't exist. Also, you seem to forget they don't speak English, but leftism. It is leftism, you're right. Gary Thomas for 5 says, hey, Dynamic Duo. I used to be subscribed to JSG's channel, but I had to unsubscribe after his constant spurgouts about how evil conservatives are. Yeah, it seems like a weird thing he's decided to do. I don't know. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, but I'm allowed to criticize it. Horwitz, Feinberg, and Horwitz for $10 says, I read that thread, screenshotted yesterday, and JSG has to have superpowers to leap to to this much of a conclusion. I know. It's just straight to Hitler, straight to Nazi. It's Goblin's Law.
This thing, I think, if you're going to make content, it is a lot easier to make lower-brow content that spurs drama and controversy because more people will so-called enjoy it because it's clickbaity crap, whereas anything that makes people think, most people don't like to think. If you're going to make any content that requires people to think, you're not going to get as many views as if you just did dumb drama shit. And I can see this with my own videos. If I make a video where it requires me to think, it doesn't get that many views. If I put in freaking Sargon or Destiny's name in it, I get twice the views.
Yeah.
Even
and I think that was part of it.
Even if the content is exactly the same, the fact that I'm just including the name is what drives it, which is so stupid. I hate the fact that I have to talk about somebody else to get the channel to grow. That pisses me off.
How do you think I feel about everything all the time? It's like, I make a video about conspiracy theories. It gets 15,000. I spent a month and a half making a video about conspiracy theories. It gets no views. I make a video about Tim Pool and Ebba Vigeland, and it's immediately one of the better performing videos on my channel. Best performing videos on my channel in terms of views per time.
I wanted to make a video about this because I saw someone in the chat said in the thread there, well, the message that V got owned by this guy, and I went, oh, we did a video, and then I watched the first 3 minutes and went, this guy is high as a kite. The opening freaking sentence out of his mouth that you'll see in the video, I'm like, are we even living on the same planet? Are we even reading the same thread?
Well, no,
what the hell are you talking about?
That's the thing, is that I truly, and I think we kind of got this from our conversation with Ethan, and I think Ethan and I generally are living on the same planet, but there's certain, it's very much, they live where there's shades where somehow some of us are just looking at the same thing, but we have these different shaders on. There was an interesting version. I sent this to you, didn't I? I think. No, I sent it to Lavender, which was that there was a replication of the Ash conformity experiment where they had everybody wearing glasses in this room to judge the distances of a line. And some of them had these glasses on that manipulated their eyesight. So they did think that one line was longer than the other when the actual length of the lines it was not longer than the other. So it was about the idea of believing your lying eyes. And they got people to argue with each other, and they replicated the results with a, because the problem with the Asch conformity experiment was that it was conducted with Confederates. And so they did it without Confederates, and they replicated the exact findings. People have blinders. And I don't mean that just, I mean, I have blinders, you have blinders, we all do. We all see the world from our own perspective. So, you know, sometimes it can become maybe frustrating or can seem difficult when you're talking to someone and you both have looked at the same thing, and one of you saw a scary alien face and one of you saw a normal advertisement. Do you know what I mean? As in they live. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it does appear the way that I think almost everything works that way now, where just perceptions are so disparate. We can't even talk about things normally because we're seeing things through different lenses that are so opaque as to not be able to communicate properly. Let's see, where was I? Gary Thomas for $5 says, I also find it amazing how much power leftists have managed to accumulate, seeing how their ideas fall apart at the smallest amount of scrutiny. Well, that's why they put in censorship everywhere.
Yeah. Because
oh, you disagree? Censor.
Yeah.
That's a wrong think idea. Their ideas can't exist organically, so they have to censor everything. Or call it a conspiracy theory, or call it wrong think, or whatever. Yeah. Kiss It for £5 says, the Great Leap Forward should be corrected as the Great Leap Backwards, yeah. And they lost a great war against pharaohs. Horrifying, that whole thing. So commies, kindly shut up and leave. I agree. Redneck Graham for 10 says, JSG lost me as a sub when he went off the deep end and fairly explicitly said he didn't want anyone right-wing in his audience. Yes, he did say that. And then went crazy leftist all the time. Again, like, his regular videos are fine. It's just when he does these political videos, they're nutso. And they're not based on reality. They're based on just, like, he couldn't answer V's questions about the decolonization or the Great Leap Forward because he doesn't know. I don't think he knows. I also don't think he knows what they are. He's not a political guy. He's a media guy. I don't think he honestly knows what those things are. But he's decided to invest himself into politics without having a real background there. And that's why you look kind of dumb, my dude. Not trying to be rude, but it happens. Kizza for £5 says, Aiden, shall we ignore the most famous twins in film who were raised apart with Leia and Luke Skywalker? How equal were they two? Femboy versus princess. Yeah, very different. You know, Luke raised on a water farm and Leia raised as a princess. Very different. Twins raised apart. They still kissed. Kisser for another 5 says, remember Spoon, Aiden, fascism is Italian socialism, whereas communism is supercharged Leninism. Yes, of course. Also, the USSR were ironic nationalists. They did have a very strong nationalistic element to it, yes. Makes you think. Kisser then says, for £5, all republicanism is center-left on the spectrum, and Germany and Russia were both republics during this time, so they're both far left. One's honest. Kisser continues for another 5. People need to drop this notion of universal human rights. This has never existed from day one. We should accept this fact and restrict this for many. I do agree. The idea of universal human rights is a little that everyone is equal is silly. Is very silly. Human rights, as to that you shouldn't be allowed to be harmed, I agree with, obviously, but in terms of the idea of equality is absurdist. Son of Tiamat for 5 says, the distributist says you're not capable of a, quote, sober analysis if you think Hitler was a socialist and left-wing, stubbornly thinks he was far right. The distributist is he's coming to it from distributism, which is the 4th position, right? Which is neither left nor right, technically. It has elements of both. So that's why he probably has that position, I would suppose, because distributism is outside of the more general left-right paradigm. And Gary Thomas for 10 says, Aiden, Have you read any studies on how different races, ethnicities of people react to the same propaganda? Best example, the Axis powers subjugated to American propaganda after World War II. I have not, so I'm not familiar with that, but I would be interested to see if there is research on that. There might be, but thank you, Gary. I'm not familiar with it though. I'd have to look into that. Thank you. Kizza for £5 says, Aiden for statistics, Spoon for fitness, myself for engineering, cars, and being the world's best uncle. Any objections? No, Kizza. And Kizza for another 5 says, playing Streets of Rage 2 at the NQ6 for arcade bar while listening to you two. This is the good life. Also, Aiden, check DMs. It was a fun time. Let me see what you sent me. Oh, that does look fun. North FC meetup. Now, Spoon. We have to watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
buckle up. It's just gonna be stupid.
Yeah. I stopped sharing my screen with you. I think didn't I? I did not.
I'm not watching it, so you're good.
Okay, but here is the actual video. So V made a video. I think he actually did make 2 about this. Yeah. Like a really short one, and then another one that was like 10 minutes long. As this continued to go on about this back and forth.
And this man decided to get very stupid.
He made a 20-minute long response video, which is fine. I don't really care if you make response videos. I think it's well within your prerogative. However, we couldn't make it through 6 minutes of this because every single thing he says is wrong.
Well, so far that we've seen.
Through the 6 minutes we've seen, everything he said was wrong. So, shall we?
Sure, why not?
All right. You got it up?
Yep.
All right, let's go.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. I really do have the dumbest enemies.
That's a good way to start a video.
Within the first 3 seconds.
Yes, come off like a massive pretentious jackass where people who oppose you on the internet are somehow seen as enemies, which is not at all cringe and gay.
V is immediately described as his enemy. But again, we're going to go through how this happened.
It's the internet, not war, you fag.
I'm gonna skip through his opening. Even though his opening's cool.
But it's still cringe.
Just a... Well, it's a mimicking a Bleach opening.
Cringeous and gayest.
One of the things that I've noticed since 2020 is that there's been a ratcheting up of ideological groupthink coming from the right.
Yeah, I don't actually think that's true.
Only ideological groupthink comes from the right.
Do you know what I think it actually is?
Should I drop my load yet or wait for it? As to why everything he's about to say is gonna be stupid. Because I talked to you about this earlier.
Are you asking me? In terms of the chat?
The transgender stuff, right? That's just one of the most interesting things, right? 5 years ago, if you had told a regular person on the street, hey, I think it would be a really good idea if we expose toddlers to men in dresses doing strip shows, and also to pornography in schools, and also that we start children on hormone delaying treatments when they're 10 to 11 years old and immediately onto cross-sex hormones because they said they thought they might be a girl after one meeting with a psychologist. If you had said that in 2015, 2016, every person would think you're insane. However, here we are. This is the current paradigm. The right's not moved. I've talked about this before, is that there's this thing called social judgment theory. Social judgment theory is a line, a vertical line, horizontal line. And on that horizontal line of opinion, you are going to have your own personal anchor point. View it in your mind, you've got an anchor point. Okay? Now, around your anchor point, to the right and to the left, on any given position, you're going to have your latitude of acceptance. There are people who could maybe convince you to change your mind. And we have to look at this about politics. It could be about anything, any argument. You have your latitude of acceptance where you could probably be convinced if someone gives you a really strong argument. Then you have, outside of that latitude of acceptance, you have your latitude of non-committance. The latitude of non-committance are things where you go, maybe. And then you have latitude of pure rejection, where you're just not going to hear anything that's happening because it's so outside from your anchor point, right? The right is sitting here with a relatively stable anchor point and keeps getting pushed left because you keep asking for more and more stuff. The idea that the right is even considering any of these transgender things now, when just 5 years ago they would have been considered so insane that no one would have taken them seriously, right or left, is proof that it's not the right that's going crazy. It's the left that is dragging the right with them, and the right is too pussy to really resist it, to be fair. The right tepidly goes along. I'm sorry, but just some guy like, you're not living in the real world. You're living in some kind of fantasy land. And I don't know how you end up in this world, but it's not the real one.
I don't buy into the whole alt-right pipeline narrative, mostly because no one forces you to watch a video or visit a website. People make a conscious decision to view those things. If all it took to convert someone was seeing something, then you'd expect that the people doing the exposés would fall for it too. You need more than just that. You need someone to be susceptible to indoctrination. They need to already hold some of those ideas they've been exposed to.
It's actually not true.
I don't actually
That's
agree
not
with that
true.
either.
It was okay there for a minute. But no, you don't need someone to hold existing ideas to
I find
indoctrinate
the framing
them.
to be unusual. They need to be susceptible to indoctrination.
Well, he's calling. If you believe in right-wing stuff, you're indoctrinated.
Basically,
But
anything that does not conform to mainstream consensus is somehow seen as indoctrination, which to me is kind of weird.
Well, what I'm going to get into here is that he's talking about cults, even though he's talking about mainstream right-wing politic. And what he's going to end up doing is making an argument for Scientology, or any cult, really. I'm going to use Scientology as an example. He's going to be talking about the conservatives as what Scientologists call suppressive persons. Now, if you're not aware, let me bring this up real quick. The suppressive person, Scientology, is that Scientology will tell you, once you get into the cult, right? And Scientology as an idea, as a cult, is going to tell you that, oh, all the problems in your life, it's because of these things that are outside of your control, just like leftism does. It's things outside of your control. You can't do anything about it, except for to join our cult, and then we'll teach you the secret knowledge, critical race theory, for example. And once you obtain the secret knowledge, this is all Gnostic, by the way. When you obtain the secret knowledge, then you can obtain nirvana, you can obtain happiness. But along the way, there will be suppressive persons. And these are going to be conservative people, in this case, who are going to tell you that you're wrong. They're going to provide you with statistics, with numbers, with data that prove that you're incorrect. That if you're in the leftist cult, you have to deny that and shut it out, because this is suppressive information. It's stopping you from reaching your nirvana. It's stopping you from escaping from the pleroma and casting off Yaldabaoth. Depends on whatever version of Gnosticism you want to describe it to, or ascribe it to. Excuse me. Is it Scientology? Is it some other cult? Is it leftism? Is it Gnosticism? It's all the same stuff. Yes, okay, James Lindsay, I know, but it's right though. It's correct.
Community that supports and reinforces that worldview. This seems to be what happened to many YouTubers from the Gamergate era. As some of them moved to the right, others jumped on that bandwagon, and they now exist in a right-wing echo chamber where...
No, they did not get moved to the right.
They didn't move to the right.
Everyone else got moved further to the left, and they just went, here are some ideas that I will defend. And for some reason, while everyone else was losing their shit, those became ideas defended by the right. Therefore, they are right-wing just by that measure. Nothing else. It didn't change anything.
I think some of them did move. I think Sargon moved to the right. I do think he did.
Yes, but he's a monarchist
and I think,
now, basically.
But he's admitted that.
Yes.
No, V hasn't. I don't think V has changed like at all. And this is who it's about. Exactly is V. I don't think V has changed. I do think Sargon's moved a little bit further right, but I think his experience in politics is what influenced that, not internet stuff. You know,
they become right wing because all the stuff that they revere is something that the left wants to destroy.
This is also incorrect. That he said this was universal. Well,
No,
then
it's
explain
not.
Chris Reagan. Chris Reagan moved to the left. What's that other guy? The hippie dude. He moved to the left. Who did the stupid conference that did Kilroy. Excuse me. He was a Killjoy.
Jeff Holiday went
But,
further left.
Jeff Holiday. Yeah, thank you.
Jeff Holiday went insanely left.
Yes. So you went left. So not everyone who was involved in Gamergate went right.
You and I went very far right.
I don't think I've changed that much. I'm still a fucking libertarian. I just became a monarchist, which does make me go further right, but not in the way that he thinks of right.
Chris Reagan called Sam Hyde. I forgot. Anyone who uses the phrase Nazi nowadays, I don't want to hear from you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I kind of automatically dismiss anything else you have to say because that word means nothing anymore. So the Goobergators, no, they didn't all go far right. In fact, a lot of them went left. Quite a few of them did. So this is, and like, yeah, it's silly. It's pointless.
Where they peddle the most baby brain political hot takes. That's where this
Care to give an example? No, of course you won't.
It's interesting because as people become more ideological, they look for enemies, and they usually go after people who they assume.
What you're doing right here, by the way.
Literally what you're doing right now.
Guys, here's the hilarious thing.
The irony.
As we pointed out, V just made a tweet. Just some guy responds to it and then complains about his enemies because he got ratioed. That's what happened.
Assume are on their side, but aren't towing the party line. The demand is very simple. We're all doing this thing, so you do it too. Do as you're told, or else.
How?
That is not how the right works at all.
Then how did Gamergate split? How do you have someone like Shoeonhead, who is like I don't want to call her a leftist, but she's like a center-left person who just wants healthcare reform. You know what I mean?
The fact that
elements.
The fact that you make a point that some of them split would kind of tell me that what you just said isn't
It's
true.
incorrect.
Yes.
Well, we know that they split because these people aren't all besties anymore. Again, Jeff Holiday, Chris Reagan, Kraut and T, right? Like all these people split. They didn't all go in the same ideological. If that was the case, then they would all be on the same trajectory. But they're not. They're just not. So this is factually incorrect. Out of the gate.
Now, I have a nasty habit of not liking people telling me what to do, and an even nastier habit of letting them know. This is why it didn't take well to progressives telling me who I should vote for, or who I could be friends with, or what opinions I should have about certain groups of people.
So
you think this would signal to conservatives that if they tried the same thing, tried to tell me who to vote for, with whom I could be friends, what groups to support, and what opinions...
Who's doing that? Who is doing that?
The right doesn't do that. They just called you a dumbass if you do.
They called you silly and stupid. Yes. No one's telling you what to do. And what's in this particular case, no one is telling you what to do. This is the thing that I really cannot overemphasize, and I'm going to have to keep emphasizing it because it's the main point. He started this whole little beef with V over something that I think was true that V said.
That's a lie, and now Ross. I did not say that phrase. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying.
And is going to spend the next 20 minutes acting like a victim. That he... Oh my God.
I can express that I wouldn't...
Oh, he's half black then. Never mind. That solved that.
Bend the knee. You'd also think that they realize that if I already had progressives turn on me, despite mostly agreeing with them politically, that I would assume conservatives, who hate anyone left of center, would be...
No, actually, you can be hated by both leftists and the right wing.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Looking for a good spot to plant a knife the moment I said anything they didn't like. Not only did this not occur to them, so they seem to be shocked that I'm not shocked that they consider me an enemy, but
no one considers you an enemy, just stupid.
This enemy shit, dude,
cringe,
this is so, this is ego. This is ego incarnate, that he is mind reading into other people, that they see him as because of some Twitter spat.
Great arch nemesis,
that you think V sees you as some kind of arch nemesis.
Yes.
That's so silly. V made a tweet, you responded to it, you got ratioed, and now you're mad. That's what this is. But I can't believe you made a video about this. But this is what you do now, dude. This is what you do now. And please do better. Because I know you're better than this. And that's what makes me upset.
And I want to be generous. Bargain bin villains humanly possible.
Bargain bin villain.
So they're arch enemies, but also bargain bin villains.
Which one is it?
Okay, that
Yeah.
seems kind of weird, but all right.
Arguments. Just people repeating the latest, dumbest right-wing NPC updates. I make it a point.
Latest, dumbest NPC updates?
Okay, keep going.
We've already read the thread. I don't think there was an NPC update. Okay.
Says the guy who called him immediately a Nazi and went Second World War.
Yeah, you immediately went to the Nazi claim and continued to go to the Nazi claim, could not deal with the response and continue with the Nazi claim. That's NPC behavior. You couldn't deal with an actual response and continued with your NPC programming and said,
Augusto says he's a
Nazi.
He said he's a black bisexual from Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why he gets smoked.
Point not to interact with these people, but occasionally someone says something so unbelievably stupid, I just can't help myself.
Okay, go ahead.
V. Again. I responded to this tweet he made about the left believing in equality, while the right believes in quality. Now I know that V doesn't sip the right-wing Kool-Aid, but guzzles it by the gallon. So I quote-tweeted him and
guzzles it by the gallon. Here's the thing, JSG. As I said earlier in the stream, V is a different kind of guy. He is not someone you can put into just some simple category box. I'm not saying that because I'm simping. I'm not saying that because I'm friends with V. I'm saying it because V is a Romanian doctor lawyer who every other time he DMs me, it's pornography. He's making a porn game. He's not exactly someone you can put into a simple little box. You can't just say like, oh, V is a far right-wing conservative. I don't know what the fuck V is. I don't want to like, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I have no idea what the fuck V is in terms of his political or whatever box. I don't think he has one. He's just a guy who has opinions on things. It's so. Of all the people you could have picked, you picked the uncategorical
also
V.
see if we can finish this by 8.
Yeah.
The reason I say it because V is doing a video at this 8 o'clock, and I kind of want to see what he has to say.
Oh, okay. Well, we can always
instead
just
of
stream his
responding
video.
directly, and that seemed to get under his precious little skin, and has been the case with conservatives who now deem me the enemy. He picked a fight to show off for his followers so he could wallow in their
No, he didn't. You did. You were the one who did it.
bukkake of likes. Unfortunately for V, I have too much
Bukkake of likes.
Let him just talk.
Just saying he's salty that he got salty. He's salty he got ratioed.
dignity to pay for Twitter, so I couldn't properly respond to him on that platform. However,
yes, you can. It just takes multiple. I'm sorry, Spin. I don't care that B's gonna be live on this. I just have to. I have to.
Fucking talk first, for fuck's sake. If you did it every time you fucking say something stupid, you'll be here all fucking day.
I know. That's why we couldn't get through 6 minutes. Oh my god. Bukkake of likes. I can't respond because I don't pay for Twitter. Then just make multiple tweets. Oh my god.
he made a video about it too, actually. So I figured I'd respond to that. And since I consider myself a gentleman, I want to make it clear that I will be as thorough as possible. And as always,
go ahead and try.
With respect.
I don't like getting into conflicts with other content creators, but sometimes they just come at me foaming at the mouth, really upset and angry, and, well, you gotta defend yourself.
Is that why this is the second video you've made about this Twitter exchange?
Yeah.
If you didn't want to get into a conflict, you could have ignored the tweet.
You started it!
I didn't respond to you directly. I quote tweeted you. You aren't following me.
Pause. For real, pause. You did respond to him. You started the shit. And then you're like, oh, why are you responding to me? Why do you care about me calling you a Nazi? I'm a gentleman. No, you called him a Nazi. That's why he responded, ding dong.
You just saw the quote tweet, clicked on it, and dropped your room temperature response.
Because that's
I
how
wasn't
Twitter
trying to talk to you.
works.
I was just making fun of your dumbass argument.
That's how Twitter works. Oh my god. Ugh. Okay, that's how Twitter works. He could see you responded to him and called him a Nazi, ding dong. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, this is so infuriating.
Argument. If I'd known you'd be so sensitive, I wouldn't have held back.
The reason I'm making
He held back. He only just called you a Nazi, V. He could have gone way harder, apparently.
a video is because what he actually said here is something that I noticed on Twitter a lot.
No, as you admitted on your live stream, you're making a video so you can get a dopamine hit from your followers.
You just said...
What are you doing?
You just said, if I knew you were going to be so salty, I would have gone harder. By that logic, you're telling me you did this to invoke a reaction.
Yes, exactly.
Well then, that was a mask-off moment, then you don't even know that was a mask-off moment.
Which he's mostly going to do to you and me after the stream.
Oh, I don't care.
To try and do something to provoke. And JSG, I don't mean to be rude to you, but if you try, you've done this to me kind of before, I'm not going to respond. If you try to do this to me, you will. I know, I won't.
Because it's funny.
I'm not doing this. It's clearly that you want reactions. It's why you do these things on Twitter.
Of course.
And it is extremely bad faith. And then you get mad when people you intentionally try to provoke a response, and then you make videos like this where you get mad when you do get responded to. So no, I'll respond on behalf of V, but not on my behalf. Yeah, I know. Go ahead, do it. You should.
It's also because you become so deeply ideological that the moment anyone challenges your bad argument and you don't have a counter argument, you go.
We read the argument.
Personal attacks, and as you're doing here.
No, lie. The personal attacks were ones you made against V. You called him a Nazi. He didn't say a single negative thing about you personally. You're the one who associated him with Nazism. That's what you did, JSG. Don't fuck around on this. Don't play stupid. I know you're not this stupid, which is what makes me irritated by it.
Straw manning. You're not going to address anything I said. What you're going to do is attack the straw leftist you have in your head. You were a meandering mess in your first video. Let's see if you got your argument together.
But in the rest of the world, in the rest of mankind...
Did you also notice that there's no evidence of how he was a meandering mess? So it was just... Go ahead, sorry.
This thing is not controversial, and these types of arguments can only be found on Twitter and sometimes on Tumblr.
So that's a no. You don't have your argument together.
It's literally been 10 seconds. He said one sentence, and now you're upset that he hasn't had an argument for you. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Patience.
That other people agree with your bad argument doesn't make your bad argument right. What kind of baby brain take is that?
Because no one agreed with you, JSG. You got 1 like on Twitter. And I'm sorry, I know that is that is a fallacy to popularity, to popularum. However, you have a very large following as well. And if you can get 1 like compared to when you started this, you started this whole shit, and you're getting 1 like versus V's hundreds, it's probably a good idea that maybe, just maybe, not always, but perhaps you're in the wrong. Because you strawmanned him. He tried to provide logical arguments back to you, as we've covered, and then you just continue to strawman him. That's the problem.
I have a theory.
Just because Americans support something doesn't automatically make it bad.
V has 26,000 followers on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah.
He has 1,500.
Yeah.
V has like 130-something followers, 130,000 followers on YouTube. Just some guys like 200 and something thousand.
Yeah, he has more followers on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why he's doing this.
Yes. So the reason he made the video is because more people will see it.
Because
he
wasn't getting the responses on Twitter he wanted because he doesn't have the Twitter following.
Exactly. So he went to a place where more eyeballs will key, which is his YouTube channel.
Yes.
That's the
reason.
And
he's also lying about the interaction, not showing the interaction.
That's the reason that he's doing it on YouTube and not on Twitter, because on Twitter no one is kissing his ass.
And the reason why he has more followers on YouTube is because he used to make, and still does make, good videos, but he's not getting that response on YouTube. He has more than 1,500. He doesn't have 15,000. You mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
But V has more followers than him. That's the gist, right?
I pointed out that the difference between the left and right is that the left believes in equality while the right believes in quality. Right? So like meritocracy type of thing. Like,
well, no. The word you used was quality, not meritocracy.
Same
As
thing.
I
Now, I'm not as fluent in English as you, but I'm...
It's the same thing.
As I explained earlier and showed you guys, merit and quality are synonyms. Him saying, I'm not as proficient in English as you is, of course, mocking the fact that V is not a native English speaker. That's kind of fucked, don't you think? Mocking the fact that he's not a native English speaker. However, here's the thing, JSG. Clearly, V actually does have a better grasp of the English language because he knows that merit and quality are synonyms, and you don't.
No, V has a better grasp on English because he's white.
I did not say that. Fuck, dude. Disavow, dude. But he's shaming V for not being a native English speaker, even though V is more correct about his use of language. The fact that he doesn't know that quality and merit. I'm just saying that the fact that V is the only person out of the two of them who knew that merit and quality were synonyms, and he didn't, and he has to now shame V for being a non-English speaker, native English speaker, is pretty shady, okay?
I'm pretty sure that meritocracy doesn't mean the same thing as quality, and I'm certain that's
sure
not
does.
what you were
We went
talking
over
about. You were clearly implying that equality, that treating all people as if they have equal value as human beings is a bad thing.
Nope. Equality of outcome is what he was talking about. You knew this. You're lying.
And that treating some people as more valuable as human beings than others is a good thing. The problem with this argument is that people already tried your little idea in early 20th century Europe, and it didn't
He's just repeating
end
his
well.
tweet thread.
Now, if you meant something different, you could have just told me that you were talking about meritocracy.
You weren't interested. You weren't interested in learning what he was trying to say at all. Clearly, as was explicated in the tweet thread, Twitter, Zitter, whatever it is now. You weren't interested. He provided you with counterexamples, and you're not talking about them here because you don't know what the Holodomor was, what Lysenkoism is, what the Great Leap Forward was, what decolonization is. So that's why you're not talking about them, because I don't think you, and I don't mean this to be rude, but I honestly don't think you know what those things are.
Even though that's not the word you used, but you didn't. Instead, you decided to light up a straw man and got pissy when I wouldn't defend it.
If you have a job...
You strawmanned him.
Okay, the reason why we say quality and equality is because the wording is snappy.
Yes.
That's the reason why he said equality and quality.
Yes.
Because it's nothing to do with meritocracy not being the word you use. It's because it fits the slogan. It's a punchline.
Yes,
you dumbass.
Yes, he was making it to be punchy, but he's not factually incorrect, and they are synonyms. This is so stupid and so pedantic.
You want to hire the best person, basically, right? This doesn't mean that the other people should be dealt with.
I'm so I just like the way that V says that.
I know.
Should be dealt with.
I know.
It's good stuff.
V, it's plainly obvious I don't think you're talking about anyone's job. But instead of responding to that, you're just going after...
How is it plainly obvious?
How is it plainly obvious? He's talking about jobs. He is talking about jobs.
I think you're the one strawmanning because it makes your argument better in your head.
Thank you. He is talking about jobs. He's talking about positions.
Projection much?
And you immediately go to put people in camps. The leap there, my dude, is incalculable. How much? I said I engaged in some solipsism tonight in regards to this whole conversation. But that level of solipsism is incalculable. That because V says some people should get... Again, the whole tweet is the left is based on equality of outcome, right is based on quality of performance, means that he's talking about something other than jobs is assuming a lot. It is. Sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but it is assuming a lot.
The straw leftist in your head, who ironically is still whooping your ass.
Alright.
That was cringe. Don't ever do that again,
No,
fuckboy.
no.
The left doesn't believe in this. The left believes it's like, alright, Tell us about why you are here. Okay, well, let me tell you why I'm qualified. No, we don't want that. No. Your heritage, your pedigree, your mother. What race was she? What? Oh, no. Do you not have like a little bit of African American in you?
Dude, you've gone off on some tangent when all you had to
It's
do is
it's
still
comedy,
man the
you
left
twat.
position and then explain why you think.
Okay, first of all, yes, it's comedy. Secondly,
It's
he's pointing out something
exaggeration.
that's real. But he is pointing out something that's real, which is what comedy is meant to do. That when you go into these modern jobs, they don't care about your quality as much as they care about your race and your sex and your gender identity because
does
of all these
DEI come
DEI programs, because of all these DEI programs that give money from the government to companies to hire people who are not white cisgendered males. That's what it
Did you say the
is.
phrase cisgendered again in my presence?
But that's how they
I will
define it.
do
You know what I
evil
mean?
things to you.
But you know what I mean.
Yes,
It's
normal
batshit
people.
crazy. That
Yes.
would win the argument. But all you're interested in is playing to your followers, so you give up the easy win to come up with this 3-minute long straw man that has nothing to do with anything I said.
What?
Let him talk.
3-minute long straw. All you did was straw man him. Okay, go ahead.
But it's a different way of thinking. Hey, if you want to run your business like this, I mean, like if, for example, just some guy would want to hire an editor for his channel, and he wouldn't hire like based on how much the editor is charging or how well the editor is, like he would just hire. It's like, all right, show me your family tree. I want to pick up the magnifying glass and I'm going to look through your family tree to see if you have like the correct genes so that we can promote diversity.
This is a perfect example of
I'm sorry. Like, how can you? I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to use the bathroom for a second, but I have to just say this. How could you play that clip and not laugh? He's clearly just some guy. I don't know if you noticed, but V is joking. He is screwing around. I don't know if you could tell from
He's
the
making a point,
tone
but
of
he's
his
also being
voice.
funny.
He is, yes, he is making a point, but he's also exaggerating for humor. You
Yes.
silly Billy. My dude, come on. This is just ridiculous. I'll be right back.
ideological brain rot. This is what happens when someone is so deep in the echo chamber they can't even see the walls. This man's head is wedged so far up his ass even a fisting expert couldn't pull it out.
Okay. How is he stuck in an echo chamber but his head is also up his own ass? That doesn't make any sense.
The moment anyone talks like this, you must understand there is no reasoning with them. They're not trying to have a dialectic. They're not trying to have a dialogue. They're not trying to have a debate. They're not even trying to have a diatribe. They just want to score points for their side.
No, they're just comically mocking your position in an exaggerated way because it's funny and it resonates with the audience. I'm aware that seeing as you are trying to present this in some sort of academic way, you also come off like a humorless shithead who can't understand when you're being fucked with.
All V's interested in is getting backpass from other right-wingers that he's owned the lib. So he will say whatever crazy
Actually, you're the one who's owning yourself. He's just pointing out how stupid your argument is.
shit he needs to so these people will
Yeah.
fondle his balls.
What are you
Like
talking
this.
about?
I do not believe in equality whatsoever.
I like the way
Nor
that
do
I like the way he presents this argument as if we are listening to V and V can do no wrong. As if we can't understand his argument. Like, oh no, V is just like an authority on right-wingership. And we are listening to him
Dude.
because he's right-wing. And we can't just listen to him and go, yes, the point he's making is actually accurate and funny.
You know, because he can't be accurate. He can't be funny because he's on the wrong side of history.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
Due to the fact that two brothers in the same household are not equal.
What are you even talking about?
The fact that you're asking that tells me that you're kind of an idiot.
That you can't understand that you can't understand it.
Yes.
Two brothers in the same household are not equal, are they? They're born in different orders. They're going to have
Yes.
different skills. They're going to have different things that they're good and bad at, even though they come
Yes.
from the exact same genetic line.
Yes.
It's
They're
not that
twins.
hard
They
to figure
don't
out.
react to things the exact same way. They're not clones.
Even if they're not twins, doesn't matter. They're twins. They're not twins. It doesn't matter. The same household will produce different offspring with different skills and deficiencies. That's why equality is nonsense. It's just nonsense.
Equality doesn't mean every human being is exactly the same, dude.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it is. That is actually what they think it means.
Yes, it actually does. It means that you expect equal outcomes. That's the problem. It's why equality always leads towards equity
And tyranny.
And towards tyranny every
And
single
no rational
time.
person arguing for equality thinks it does.
Well, the people that we're dealing with are not rational.
No, okay, this is the thing. I don't think anyone who's rational would ever argue for equality. That's my response to that.
What's being argued is that all people have the same intrinsic value as human beings.
They don't.
This intrinsic value thing, what do you fucking mean? Now,
but that's not true.
I would
they
say,
don't.
as I always say, equality under the law. I'm down with equality under the law. But we're not talking about equality under the law. We're talking about equality of what a person is able to produce or achieve. And those things can never be made equalized.
By the way, that's
impossible.
A fantasy as well.
It's irrational. Yes, it's irrational. It's impossible.
No,
it's
equality under the law. That's also a complete fantasy.
You
will
can
never
try.
have equality under the law ever because people have money and emotions and power.
Now, it's it's what you strive for.
Yes, but
that
we'll never
also
achieve
is
because human corruption is a very real
But
thing.
at least that one you can strive for. The equality of existence is so
insane.
prima facie stupid and irrational, illogical, impossible that I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how to try and meet you in the middle on this for a discussion. Like, how could you possibly think that all people are equal? No, they're not.
And should be afforded the same rights and privileges in society and under the law.
Never gonna happen.
That's what I said.
That's the
Well, that's
actual opinion.
No,
it
it's
isn't.
not actually, by the way. No, it's not. The left's actual opinion is equity, which is,
How many leftists
this
do you right
person's...
now will defend Joe Biden and his son? Oh yeah, all of them. When Trump
All
is
of
doing
them.
shit, no, they think Trump is horrible, bad, evil orange man, and Biden never did nothing wrong.
And the way that they
So,
achieve
no.
equity is by propping up people who
That's
do
complete
not
bollocks.
who do not meet the criteria to be in the positions or the programs, and they are applying to and put them into those positions and programs. Meanwhile, they downgrade, which is just found out to be illegal via the Supreme Court case, which I'm sure you're very upset about, but I don't know. I don't want to be solipsistic again. I'm wondering, is he upset that you can't discriminate against Asians anymore? Because I based on this, I would imagine he is, because that's not very equality, is it? Because you have to make everyone equal. Everything has to be a 100 IQ. Everyone has to have a C GPA. Everyone has to be perfectly average. Harrison Bergeron shit.
Sorry.
What logical reason do you have to object to this?
Objective reality.
Why don't you present that instead of repeating 10-year-old 4chan hot takes?
So,
It's not a
just
for-
some guy says it's funny that the right were saying the same thing in Europe 100 years ago. I wonder if that's why they built those camps where people could concentrate. Yeah. So, literally, this is why I even made the video. The entire argumentation on Twitter can be summed up as Marvel movies and World War II. Like, this is
Yep.
the extent of human knowledge that these people are allowed to bathe in.
Oh, sick burn, dude. You got me, son. I've been
Well,
watching
kind of
all
is,
those
though.
Marvel movies I've never
It's
seen
accurate,
because I
though.
don't care about the MCU. I've been reading all them history books and watching history shows.
Well, no, it's actually very clear you haven't read any history
Yeah.
books. What he was laughing at you about is actually your lack of knowledge of history. Did you not get that? Did that fly over your head?
Yes.
Oh, whoops.
Seeing as you made a Nazi
So I
reference.
can notice when midwits
Yeah. Sorry, let's go back. One sec.
got me, son. I've been watching all those Marvel movies I've never seen because I don't care about the MCU. I've been reading all them history books and watching history shows so I can notice when midwits try to do the same stupid shit that led to a world war nearly 100 years ago.
But
because
you
they
don't
think-
understand it.
I don't think you know what led to World War II.
No, I don't think he does.
Yeah.
Just drop again. Another name drop. 4chan.
Great Depression
What
would be a good reason.
the problem is, dude, at JSG, is that you totally ignored the very real things that were done in the exact same period of time, the last 150 years, by communists to enforce equality that caused the greatest loss of life in human history. And you ignored that because you don't know about it, and instead just want to talk about the Nazis. I know this might be surprising to you, but more people died in the Great Leap Forward than died in the Holocaust. I know that I know I might get canceled for saying that. I mean, it's a demonstrable historical fact.
Yeah,
but that's the reality.
Their argument is, well, the communist regime went on a shitload longer than the Nazi one did.
I don't know what their shit fucking argument is, but that's the reality.
It's based. Damn, you got me.
They mean like per capita if you're looking at across time. That's what they mean.
No, it doesn't matter if you look per capita across time. The Great Leap Forward was a very, very quick death of 100 million people.
You are so wrapped up in your ideology, you don't even hear what you're saying.
Ironic, very funny.
I was gonna say, like, do you hear the irony of that? Like, fucking hell, the lack of self-awareness is frankly quite jarring.
The lesson we learned from the insane 20th century Europe is to never let that happen again. So,
but he will not engage with the conversation about the decolonization,
what happened again?
gulags, or the Great Leap Forward.
Again, this is very confusing.
When someone starts talking the same, these people don't have any equality bullshit, the only response we should have is, hey, shut that shit down. Because we already know where that goes. And
no one has advocated for genocide or even anything. They just said produce quality. That didn't necessarily mean the people. It's kind of weird how you think this way.
Also, apparently, real quick, pause. V's gonna put his video out in about 15 minutes. So when that happens, I'll switch over to that so we can respond to it live, and then we'll finish this. How does that work? That sound good?
Well, wait. That's pinching Paul V stream. I'm not gonna do that to the guy.
Okay. All right.
I think that's unfair to him to stream his stream.
You know what? I agree. We'll just do our thing. If you want to watch V stream, I'll post it in the chat.
I kind of want to finish up because I kind of want to hear myself.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't mind if we don't watch it live. Or I don't mind if I don't watch it live. But yeah, let's go.
Like you lost.
If you look at human history, most of Europe were doing some offshoot of Marxism. I will explain what Marxism is to you right now, right? Because I actually had it in my country. Like, I benefited from it.
Listen, I'm not going to fall for your half-ass straw man. You made an argument about valuing quality people. I gave an example, probably the best example, of someone playing out that idea. And you respond with, what about Marxism, bro? We ain't talking about Marxism, socialism,
yes, we are.
Communism.
Yes, you are. You literally brought up the fascists.
Yes, we are.
You twat.
And also, I don't care. I don't care about your suffering, right? I just don't care. I don't give a shit about any of your suffering. Shut up. And yes, you are talking. This is so disingenuous. I don't care about. Okay, fine. So you don't care about communism, is what you're saying. You only care about fascism. You only care about deaths under fascism, which is, by the way, a center-right kind of position where it involves a socialistic system. You just don't care about history, is what you're saying. Let's be honest. You don't care about history. You don't care about truth. You care about being right. And you were proven wrong, and you got embarrassed. Oops.
Retarded ass idea. Early 20th century Europe is what happens when someone plays out your dumb ass idea. And that's not.
The Holodomor is what happens when you play out your dumbass idea. The Great Leap Forward is what happens when you play out your dumbass idea. Gulags, concentration camps, decolonization is what happens when you play out your dumbass idea. Friend.
Not to the extreme either. It's literally just implementing it. If you think I'm wrong, name an instance where people have tried your idea that didn't result in prejudice, discrimination, oppression, or genocide. And again...
And what did the left do? Prejudice, oppression, genocide. Under the auspices of... Spoon?
Sorry, what? I just came back. I went to the bathroom.
What did genocide, oppression happen under the auspices of in Russia, China, and the Eastern Bloc?
Oh, equality.
Equality. Thank you. Holy shit. The absolute lack of historical knowledge is flabbergasting.
And again, I'm not talking about some sport or profession, and neither are you.
What are you talking about?
We're both talking about
Sports?
people in general just living in a society. So that's the example I want. Find one.
Whoa. You're the one who brought up the Nazis. Holy shit. This is so disingenuous. You're like, I just want a normal example. You started by bringing up Nazis. When you start at this level by calling V a Nazi, how can or saying that he is espousing Nazi ideology, like, I just would like a regular example of the left wing doing it. I don't like your left wing examples of the Great Leap Forward. You started all of this, dude. Come on.
If you can.
So, do you know who didn't have those? The Americans. The Americans did not have an ideology where they believed X is oppressing Y, Y needs to rise up against X, seize the welfare redistributed.
No, instead we created the ideology that all men are equal. You know, that thing you disagree with? And then proceeded to completely contradict that ideology so we could oppress, enslave, and kill people as a means of gaining and maintaining wealth. Or
what
as
the
you would say,
hell are you talking about? How did you get to that? What the?
He just made it up. He made it up. He always does this too, by the way, Spin. This is what's become his modus operandi, is he just makes shit up. V didn't say anything about how equality under the law was bad. You have completely made this up because you got into a Twitter spat and got ratioed, and now you are lying about another person. And frankly, I find it sick. I find it disingenuous beyond comprehension, and I find it extremely, extremely disappointing, Just Some Guy. I have liked your content for a long time, and I hope that you do hear this part. I find this to be extremely disappointing for you to say these kinds of lies about another person because you got into a Twitter argument with them where you were lying in the first place and you called him a Nazi and then couldn't understand it. Why someone would be upset by being called a Nazi. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is really messed up. Like, this kind of hurts my feelings, dude.
They proceeded to be based. Now, I could go on about the racial and civil rights battles fought in the US, but we have so many corners of your ignorant argument to explore.
Yeah.
So I'll just say that my black ass knows a hell of a lot more about the racial history of the United States.
Well, you certainly don't know anything about the history of the UK and Europe.
How the hell are you going with a racial argument in the United States
when
you're the one who brought up Europe 100 years ago? This doesn't even make any sense. What the fuck are you
as a lot of people
about?
As a lot of people in the chat are bringing up, Ricada broke this guy, and I think that he's never been correct ever since. Like, Ricada just destroyed his arguments.
What, a white man beat down a black man? Ah, it's good old days.
And JSG, if you want to come on, I'd love for you to come on, but the reality is that you might win against me because I'm going to be polite and nice, and that's how I am. But I don't think you'd win against Spoon because Spoon won't be nice. Spoon won't be polite. Spoon was going to tell you the truth, and the reality is that you're lying a whole lot here.
If you have to bring out the race card to bring an argument, you sound cringing.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Than you. So you might want to drop that one, son.
So I point out, like, if you want to cherry pick...
He didn't make any... He's talking about Europe. He's not talking about America at all. He's not talking about America at all. He's talking about Europe. You brought this shit up. You brought that into it. It was not in any way. You just brought that crap up.
Streams, we can look at the Great Leap Forward. This is what the communists did.
No, it's not cherry-picking extremes. The moment you implement this idea that one group has more value as human beings than another, that opens up the door to the mistreatment of those you consider to be worth less.
What are you talking about?
You're welcome to...
No, address the Great Leap Forward. Address the Great Leap Forward. I don't know what this is. It's not... Do it.
Give me an example of a society where that didn't happen. My ears are perked. That said, I want to point out that in your live stream, you said that you would never mention gulags and such in any argument, and yet here you are talking about communism. This is what conservatives do whenever anyone criticizes.
Because in this particular case, it's relevant. Then why won't you address it? Why won't you address the fucking argument? Address the Great Leap Forward. Address decolonization. You won't because you know it destroys you. This is so embarrassing. This is one of the most embarrassing fucking things I've ever seen in my goddamn life, Spoon. Holy shit.
Calm down, woman. Jesus.
Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Holy
down,
crap. Or I will beat you with a bamboo
that
stick.
makes their bad ideas less bad. It doesn't. It just makes you look stupid because it's just a half-assed attempt to dodge the criticism of your argument.
You're dodging.
If you had anything to address the criticism, like evidence that what you're suggesting isn't remarkably similar to the craziness that spread across early 20th century Europe, you'd have presented it, but you...
Well, I did. I started the stream by doing that. And I've reiterated the equality in terms of who killed people for the purpose of equality, as V was trying to tell you, and you couldn't comprehend it. Have you, I hope, JSG, that if you watch any of the stream, you can go back and listen to how I explained why the communists in the Great Leap Forward and under decolonization were trying to implement greater equality via genocide. That's the difference. V was trying to explain it to you, but you couldn't understand it for some reason.
You don't. So you go back to the typical right-wing response of waving around communism like it's some sort of Jedi mind trick. That doesn't work on me because I don't support communism and would never...
It doesn't work on you because you don't understand his argument.
...defend it. You're wasting your time. But
you're wasting yours.
I will have it known that I am not a one-man man. We ain't even past foreplay.
And when you talk about left-wing, right-wing, it's unfair to say, oh,
this
you
is
want
unbelievable.
Equality?
I can't believe someone's so stupid.
You
honestly.
want forced labor.
And yet that's literally been your entire counter-argument to this straw leftist you concocted in your head. Here's what you said in your other
Then why didn't you respond to his argument?
Is this man always this fucking retarded? Because, like, V didn't say anything this man's been arguing against this entire bloody video. I haven't seen this bit. Right? I'm just like, V didn't say any of this shit. You're the one who brought up the Second World War, you fucking idiot. He didn't say shit about this.
That's what I mean, Spoon. It's hilarious that he keeps saying, V's creating a straw man. V's creating a straw man. Meanwhile, the
basis of your entire freaking retweet was based on
every single thing. Your retweet was a straw man. Your response is a straw man. You won't respond to his arguments. I don't even know what the hell this is. A straw leftist, then why won't you respond to V's actual points about decolonization and gulags and the Great Leap Forward? You won't even respond to them. That is very telling.
Video.
So, like, forcing people to be equal is tyrannical, is wrong, is reprehensible.
It's just straight up baby's first conservatism. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I need to die. I need to just crawl in a hole.
Can we stop now? Because I kind of want to hit this man at this point.
Baby's first conservative argument.
This is a level of just sheer retardation that, like, honestly is like bringing out a violent reaction in me.
I know. That's why I wanted to watch this. Dude, you couldn't respond to any of these arguments. You just repeated your own shit. You literally would not respond to the examples that he brought up. You're talking to someone who grew up in part under communism.
Yeah, he was under the Iron Curtain.
Oh my God. It's so unbelievably dishonest, disingenuous. Just, you know what? Just some guy,
He just has a smooth voice. I also have a smooth voice. That's no reason to be stupid.
You're going to do whatever you're going to do.
A smooth voice is a power, and if you don't wield it, you're just kind of a twat. Wield it with a sense of grace like I do.
Yes. You're going to do whatever you're going to do, man. I'm not telling you what to do.
But you're cringing.
But I'm telling you
really
what I would suggest. What I would suggest is you need to have a little bit of humility and to understand that we're not enemies. I know you keep using that word enemy.
Yeah, video's
I'm not your
second. I actually have it up in front of me.
Do you want to watch it? I mean, I don't know.
I am not going to stream on our stream.
So we're all right. So we're just gonna keep doing this. If you would like to instead watch V's response, which
he's only got like 10 minutes at this anyway. We should just watch V's video. I want to go to V's live stream.
What? But we can't stream and do that at the same time.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay, so shall we just finish this? If you want to watch V's video or watch us finish our reaction to this, I don't care which. What do you want to do, Spoon? Or do you want to finish this up and just close and head over to V's?
I'll ask the chat.
Chat, what do you guys want to do?
Because if the chat wants to, I want to watch V's reaction personally.
In which case, I'd say we just go over to V's channel.
Yes.
Finish.
We can go over there and raid his channel.
Jeez. Oh, let's raid him, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the chat wants us to finish it by the looks of it.
Okay, so yeah. All right. V's video will be up. Our video will be up. I think it's.
Yeah, V's not even live yet, so.
Okay. Sometimes he spends like 30 minutes waiting there. Sometimes not as much as Hard Bastard does. No offense to Hard Bastard.
No, but like he does his thing like a fair bit.
Yeah. All right. Let's try to get through a little bit more of this.
Spoon's trying to weasel out of cringe. I'm the one who suggested we do the live stream anyway. I'm not trying to weasel out of shit.
He is the one who suggested it. So. All right.
How dare you suggest I can't
on.
handle the cringe?
Whoa. Oh, it's a full video that V made. Oh, he already pre-released it. No.
Oh,
so
it's not a
just
live stream.
Premiere. It's not a live stream. It's a premiere. Let's do the video. Let's watch it then.
Oh,
Okay. All right. So here's the thing.
You want to stream it on here?
Yeah. Let's stream it on here.
But here's
what. Okay, but here's what I want. Okay, 12 minutes. Hang on, let me write this down. Notes. We're at 12 minutes and 36 seconds. Okay, we're gonna watch V's video. However, what I would like you all of you to do watching is to please go over into V's channel, like it. Hey.
Loud, my ears.
Loud as fuck. Please go over into this video and just sit in it. If you just sit in the chat or whatever so that it gets the views, please, because I want to hear what V has to say about this. If you can pull up 2 tabs at once, you know what I mean. And we're also going to raid it.
Being raided. It's like...
Raid.
And he's saying thanks for the raid. Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah. So everybody go and raid V's live video. We're gonna watch it here so we can react to it. But go also pull it up, please, if you have.
Oh, Amazing Lucas. He's one person that also went like Lefty Craig. He's stupid.
Oh yeah, he did. All right. So we're almost there. No, don't unsub to V. Sub to V. Give V some love. Fuck our channel for a minute, and we're gonna watch
gently
along. We're gonna watch along with V. I am gonna stream it here so that we can see it, but just watch it. Okay.
I swear to God. Just refresh it.
Yeah, here we go.
There we go.
And I watched the video.
Oh, it keeps
first 3 bits. And
what's it doing?
What's
it doing? Okay, hang on. Let me just refresh.
What are you doing?
It was doing weird things on my side. It's working for you?
Responded to me. I have been informed. Got DMs. And I watched the video. First 3 minutes, he throws his insults at me. Now I am going to skip them, and I will not insult him back. I will do what Michelle Obama has instructed me to do. When they go below, we rise above it. I'm rising above it right now. But I do want to tackle the arguments that he made. So let's listen.
Let's go.
My God.
Oh no, we're gonna watch the same thing. This is like a extreme within a stream within a stream.
Oh.
Should have shown this picture though. This one I like more. I prefer this one. If you make another video response, please show this one.
We did.
Anyway, let's go with the argument.
Yeah.
So I quote tweeted him instead of responding directly.
Very cowardly, by the way, but you should understand that because I have a lot of subscribers, people message me and it's like, hey, this person is gossiping about you. And I'm like, what? especially if the take is interesting.
That seemed to get under his precious little skin.
It did. My precious little skin has been penetrated by just some guy. And I had to respond.
It has been the case with conservatives who now deem me the enemy. He picked the fight to show.
I don't deem you the enemy. I'm an entertainer. All right? Like, if I see you on the street, I buy you beer. It's what manly men do. I do not believe that people on the internet are my enemy. I don't do this, okay? I talk about movies and video games. What enemy? Like, we are not fighting a bat. This is not a war. I do not have generals.
I said the same thing.
Exactly.
What I do have is entertainment and ideas.
Talking about fucking
show
culture.
off for his followers so he could wallow in their bukkake of likes.
The bukkake of likes must flow. It is social media. We are content creators.
Everybody bukkake
If I do not want
V with
clout,
likes.
then what am I doing there to begin with? When you get clout, the algorithm loves you. When the algorithm loves you, it shares your videos. When it shares your videos, more people are aware of your takes. Which is literally why we're doing this. Because otherwise we could just sit in our room alone and talk to ourselves.
Let's bukkake
So this
with
is why
likes.
the bukkake of likes is very important to me. Extremely so. You can mention this on your next video. V enjoys the bukkake of likes.
Unfortunately for me, I have too much dignity to pay for Twitter, so I couldn't properly respond to him on that platform.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, you wouldn't want a platform that doesn't censor people who disagree with you. This is why I pay for Twitter. I support Elon Musk. He put it on a good product. Allows me to talk to people without getting censored. I pay for Twitter with absolutely no shame, with absolutely no remorse, and the fact that it annoys other people who enjoyed the previous Twitter.
Bukkake V with some likes, guys.
So in order to upset those people, I spend $8. Their cries, their tears, their suffering is worth the $8 of entertainment.
They're suffering.
However, he made a video about it too, actually.
So it's just one. I do not know.
I was gonna say, I didn't know what the second video was. I only saw one.
Or should I throw this on being a liar? But this would be the second video. Maybe he saw the future. Maybe he saw the future and is counting this video as the second. But other than that, I only made one. Look, I'm even showing the finger here. One video, just some guy. One. That's all you got. This is the second.
I couldn't find the other video. Yeah.
Who knows? Insert coin to continue.
So I figured I'd respond to that. And since I consider myself a gentleman, I want to make it clear that I will be as thorough as possible, and as always, with respect.
I don't like getting into conflicts with other content creators, but sometimes they just come at me, foaming at the mouth, really upset and angry, and, well, you gotta defend yourself.
Is that why this is the second video you've made about this Twitter exchange? If you didn't want to get into a
When is the first? Am I suffering from amnesia? Am I becoming presidential? Where is the first video? Like, literally, this was done. This Twitter exchange, as you're pointing it out, was 3 hours ago. When did I have time to make so many videos on this subject?
Saw a quote tweet, clicked on it, and dropped your room temperature response.
Yeah, literally, I got people DMing me about these things. I know it's astonishing, but like, you're a content creator too. You know how these things go.
I wasn't trying to talk to you. I was just making fun of your dumbass argument.
We're doing whatever we're doing.
But like, people expect me, it's kind of like the street cred. It's kind of like, you know what this guy said about your mother? And I'm like, what did they say? And they show you their phone, It's like, I'm sure like you're not trying to talk to me and you're trying to insult me behind my back. I need to defend the street cred, because I'm into the bukkake of likes, as you pointed out. So I need to engage. I'm sorry. It is the way it is.
Knowing you'd be so sensitive, I wouldn't have held back.
The reason I'm making a video is because what he actually said here is something that I notice on Twitter a lot.
No, as you admitted on your live stream, you're making a video so you can get a dopamine hit from your followers.
Yeah. No, that's actually true. Oh, my live stream! My live stream! Oh, well, I mentioned it. Yes, but that's not a video. That's a live stream. That's a different thing. I mean, okay, fine. If you want to count it as a live stream, but that's like a live stream with very few viewers. It's kind of like you quote tweeting me.
We've got over 500 live viewers, guys.
I didn't even title you in the live stream. I didn't mention anything about it. Now you're breaking it up. Okay, yes, no, all right, fine. I understand where the two-video accusation comes from now. Naruhodo. It's just like, how much time did I develop?
Dude, this guy's never gonna escape from his bukkake of lies.
Someone brought it up. But okay, fine. 2 videos. My bad.
It's also because you become so deeply ideological that the moment anyone challenges your bad argument, you don't.
Well, actually, it's about anything. Like, if someone challenges you on a take, you feel like responding to them, you know? Like, but
yeah,
okay,
true.
Fine. Like, maybe I should have responded. Maybe I should have given you the silence treatment.
No, you should have responded, because this is hilarious.
Maybe I should have treated you like the Flashcast, giving you the silent treatment.
Don't have a counter argument. You go for name calling, personal attacks, and as you're doing here,
Flashcast.
Well,
Flashcast is always nice to me.
Done? Like, for 4 minutes, you went for name calling and personal attacks. I'm just learning from the best, from YouTubers that are bigger than me. It's like, I understand this is how the discussion needs to take place.
Sorry, guys, this is a novel.
Like, show
thing
me
for
a
us.
different way, just some guy. Be my Jesus. Be my Messiah. And show me a different way without name calling and personal attacks.
Oh, Manning, you're not going to address anything I said. What you're
I literally did address, though. Like, I don't know how to address more, but okay.
going to do is attack the straw leftist you have in your head. You were a meandering mess in your first video. Let's see if you got your argument together.
But was I a meandering mess? I think I did fine. Guys, was I a meandering mess?
No, you weren't, but you're fine.
I got a visit from my in-law.
You were fine.
Maybe that's what rattled me. You know, like things happen in real life outside of YouTube. But I don't think like the visit from my in-laws actually made me the meandering mess he claims I was. I think I was very presentable. Look at the avatar. Like, the avatar is standing up, right?
Yeah, he's clearly presentable. Look at it. Look at his troll-like appearance.
See, now he got under my
He's
skin.
fine.
My skin is too sensitive. I keep allowing him to penetrate my skin. I need to harden it up a little bit. But in the rest of the world,
he spends most of his time under a bridge.
This thing is not controversial, and
Oh,
these types of arguments.
he
can
was
only
on
be found
Flashcast with
Twitter,
JSG.
and
Yeah,
sometimes
I
on
think
Tumblr.
so.
So that's a no. You don't have your argument together. Claiming that other people agree with your bad argument doesn't make your bad argument right. What kind?
No, but it's like a signifier, isn't it? Like when almost everyone universally doesn't complain over the fact that the left believes in equality and the right believes in equality. And when the overwhelming amount of people don't have to bring the Nazis and Jews and Marvel movies into every conversation, sure, you know, you're right. Maybe that doesn't necessarily say it's a bad argument that you did, but it's a very damn indication that it is probably a bad argument. And this is quite accurate of social media, isn't it? Like, make a take.
Because V's being a king right now, so let's go.
The overwhelming amount of people disagree with you. And you can always say, well, you know, just because the entire human race disagrees with me, it doesn't mean that my take is wrong. It's the human race that is wrong. I mean, yeah, it is a possibility.
What kind of baby brain take is that? Just because Americans support something doesn't automatically make it bad.
Baby brain take.
I pointed... Yeah, but it's like a very fringe, extreme group of Americans that support something. And when you go into other cultures,
crowns
you
in
do
the
not
chat,
see the
lads.
same support for the same thing. And the fact that Americans support that something isn't necessarily grassroots. It can also be because it is dictated top-down by the academia, by the politician, by the Trust and Safety Council of social media, so on and so forth. You know, you can, of course, say that just because a small amount of minority in America believes in something, that doesn't make it true. And my argument is that, well, just because the overwhelming amount of human population believes in something, it probably makes it true. Now, of course, you know, it's up for us to prove these statements, but I do think, like, my statement has a little bit more weight. It out that the difference between the left and right is that the left believes in equality while the right believes in quality. God, listening to my voice is so
We're doing it, guys.
Holy shit. You know what? I hope that just some guy suffers what I'm suffering right now, and he's going to have to listen to his voice in my video. Like, that is my payback for him for making me do this.
Listen to his own voice.
Right? So, like, meritocracy type of thing. Like,
well, no. The word you used was quality, not meritocracy.
It's literally the same shit. If you want to hire a chef, you hire him based on the quality of his cooking. If you want to hire a writer, you hire him based on the quality of his writing. I don't know. Is it that I need to go with me no speaking English? Like, I think I mastered the English language to a certain degree that I do understand basic words. So yeah, when I say the right values quality...
Oh, in fact,
it is
V's really correct. We went over it.
I'm sorry if I've not made
is a
myself
synonym.
understood enough, but it seemed that everyone else in the comment section did get it. But again, like, I understand I'm not supposed to bring what other people understand in the conversation, so I guess we just leave it up in the air. Like, maybe I didn't do a good job expressing myself.
Yeah, you did, V.
Now,
you
I'm
did
not
an
as
excellent
fluent
job.
in English as you, but I'm
No, me neither. It seems that English eludes both of us.
pretty sure that meritocracy doesn't mean the same thing as quality. And
I think I did a good job explaining it, though. Like, this time around, if I still didn't manage to get my point across, I'll give up. I don't know what else to do. I'll buy an English dictionary then.
As you, but I'm pretty sure
well,
that
unfortunately,
meritocracy doesn't
V
mean
was
the same
right,
thing as quality.
for
And I'm
JSG,
certain that's not
unfortunately,
what
at
you were
least.
talking about. You were clearly implying that equality, that treating all people as if they have equal value as human beings is a bad thing, and that treating some people as more valuable as human beings than others is a good thing. The problem with this argument is that people already tried your little idea in early 20th century Europe.
Here we go. The Nazis are coming. Godwin.
Godwin, please. Godwin,
Peer
please.
into this man's psyche and force him to talk about Hitler.
It didn't end well. Now, if you meant something different, you could have just told me that you were talking about meritocracy, even though that's not the word you used, but you didn't.
I literally did it in the video, though. And by the way, while I did talk about meritocracy, yeah, I think equality as a concept leads to genocide. I
agree. We went over it
the
here.
Soviet Union, the history of China under Mao, almost every other socialist country on earth. Yes, equality, treating every single person the same, not a good idea. Because it's against human nature. And you know what it creates? It creates raging hypocrites. People that think they are better than everyone else because they believe in equality while not practicing it. I mean, just some guy. You made a video for 5 minutes here. Would you say that you're being charitable towards me? Would you say you are treating me the same as you are treating your close friends, as you are treating your family? No, you're not.
You called him an enemy.
Very condescending.
Yes,
called you an
rude,
enemy. May I add disrespectful? You're not treating me equal. And you shouldn't, by the way. Human beings do not treat people equal. You are treating me based on my value. I have not brought value to you. In fact,
point.
I have removed value from you because as we looked on Twitter, most people disagreed with you. Some people even criticized you. So because I removed value from you, you feel like attacking me. You're not going to consider me the same as other content creators who you are friends with, right? Now imagine you had an ideology that would force you to treat me the same like everyone else. That with the same kindness you show to your mother, the same respect you show to your father, you would be forced to show upon me. It would be a very tyrannical ideology, wouldn't it? It would be a horrible ideology to live under, wouldn't it? My ideology goes like, no, you should treat me any way you want me to be treated, right? If I don't bring value to your channel, to your business, you are in the right to make a video in order to try to monetize my video response to you. And of course, I can do the same, right? This is why we're on YouTube. This is why we're doing this, to entertain people.
Yep. Entertainment.
Instead, you decided to light up a straw man and got pissy when I wouldn't defend it.
If you have a job, you want to hire the best person, basically. He said I didn't talk about meritocracy. How is this not talking about meritocracy?
Literally talking about meritocracy.
Right? This doesn't mean that the other people should be dealt with. And by the way, even in the argument itself, even on Twitter, I talked about the decolonization. Like, if you want to make people equal, and some peasants have land, and other peasants don't have land, the solution that the Soviet Union came up with is to genocide the peasants with land and take away their land. And now no peasant has land. Do you see the problem with equality? Probably not. But anyway, right? Like,
I'm so happy.
A concept that I understand the Americans haven't dealt with. They haven't lived under a communist state. They have like a fictional, romanticized version of what it is. But okay. Yeah, I'll give that to a lack of experience.
V, it's plainly obvious I don't think you're talking about anyone's job. But instead of responding to that, you're just going after the straw leftist in your head.
The job was just an example. I gave other examples as well. You do not value the same people like you do not value an arsonist and a firefighter the same. This is not about jobs anymore. This is about content of character. One person likes to set fire to things. The other person risks their lives in order to put out the fires. Even though they're both human beings, we do not value them at the same level. One person should be elevated by society. The other person should be condemned. Notice how in countries that are revolutionary oriented, like look at what happened in the Soviet Union when the left did its revolution, or look what happened in China when they did their revolution, you will notice that the roles are inversed. all of a sudden the firefighter is viewed as the problem.
Yes.
And then
yes.
the people setting the fire are being viewed as heroes.
To obtain the people's
Kyle
revolution.
Rittenhouse case in the United States. Oh, that triggers you, doesn't it? Oh, horrible. Horrible. But like for some period of time, you weren't able to defend Kyle Rittenhouse on social media.
Remember that?
Because you would get banned. You would get zooked on Facebook if you tried. Right? So like, literally the case was about people that were trying to set fire to a gas station while another person was trying to put it out. It was a fiery but mostly peaceful protest.
They were trying to
but the person
gas
trying
station
to
on
put
fire.
out the fire was viewed as the bad one, right? He had no value in the eyes of the progressive mindset. While the individuals that chased him, tried to hit him in the head with a skateboard, also had a rap sheet longer than my arm. Those were the actual champions.
Who ironically is still whooping your ass.
All right, the left doesn't believe. You know, when you whoop someone's ass, I just want to point out, it's nice if you let other people say that you did. Like, it's nice to allow, you know, some room for praise from the audience, because otherwise, like, how can the audience praise you if you're doing such an amazing job yourself? Even this, the left believes it's like, all right, tell us about why you are here. Okay, well, let me tell you why I'm qualified. No, we don't want that. No. I like this bit. I really like this bit. You know, I haven't watched my video again.
Yeah,
I like this bit. I did a great bit. I should be on Saturday Night Live. I'm actually more funny, and I don't need writers. Did you know, like, they suspended Saturday Night Live because they didn't have writers? They're striking, so how can the comedian make jokes without, huh?
You need V.
Your heritage, your pedigree, your mother. What race? It's really good, isn't it? I'm laughing at it.
She was what?
Oh, no. You shouldn't laugh at your own jokes, but come on, this is so great.
It is, though.
Do you not have like
a
little bit of African American in you?
Dude, you've gone off on some tangent when all you had to do
Yeah, it's literally identity politics.
was still man the left's position, and then explain why you think it's bad.
It's identity politics, literally. Like, it's the way things are done in the United States. I know individuals that live in California, who change their gender on paper so that they become female lesbians. Even though nothing changes about them, they don't change anything. This is just so that they can change their thing on paper so that they look good in a resume. That's it. Like, they flat out tell me what they're doing this for. And of course, all of this is done in the name of equality, because when you look at a company, it needs to have the correct percentages.
Of course.
Like the same number of the demographic in the nation has to be equally represented in that company. And this is why they hire based on pedigree and heritage rather than on merit.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
That would win the argument. But all you're interested in is playing to your followers, so you give up the easy win to come up with this 3-minute-long straw man that has nothing to do with anything I said.
My brother in Christ, I win when my followers are entertained. I mean, if the troll avatar didn't give it away, I'm trying to be funny. Now, maybe you don't find it funny. I understand. You know, like, every person has
literally a troll.
Humor. Just like, if the overwhelming amount of human population disagrees with your political ideology, that doesn't mean it's wrong. So does it mean that if you don't like my jokes, that doesn't mean they're not funny. But I do think it has something to do with something you said. I had to explain why equality is a bad concept. How can I do that? Well, I had to take a 3-minute skit, make a funny joke, try to get people to understand why equality is a bad thing. Because for some reason you think
he can't understand
that
the
is
jokes.
the best shit on earth. I disagree. I think it's a horrible thing. But it's a different way of thinking. Hey, if you want to run your business like this, I mean, you know, like if, for example, just some guy would want to hire an editor for his channel, and he wouldn't hire, like, based on how much the editor is charging, or... I'm explaining value here. I'm trying to explain why value is important and why the right believes in value. If you hire an editor, you should hire him based on the value he brings with his edits. That's my point. But I don't think you're going to get it. I haven't seen the video, by the way. This is my genuine reaction to the commentary. I don't think he's going to get it. How well the editor is, like, he would just hire, it's like, all right, show me your family tree. I want... this is literally how the leftists would hire the editor. This is
so
exactly
good, though.
how. Like, does he meet the quota? Is he meeting the percentages? Pick up the magnifying glass, and I'm going to look through your family tree to see if you have, like, the correct genes, so that we can... Yeah, did your parents fuck correctly? Are you properly diverse for the job?
This is a perfect example of ideological brainwash. This is what happens when someone is so deep in the echo chamber, they can't even see the walls. This man's head is
Unfortunately,
laid so
like, most of
far
our
up his
streaming
ass,
is
even a
bugged,
fisting
but
expert
sorry.
couldn't pull it out.
Look at it. He's doing it too, right? Like, he's doing it too. You could have gone for the easy win, but instead you just play for the audience to get the bukake of likes. We're both doing it. See, this is why I don't really have that much respect for left-leaning oriented people, because I see a common trend. Okay, like they preach and they shame others on how to behave, but then they don't listen to their own advice.
No, they don't. True.
I don't really like hypocrites. You know, at least I admit, yes, I'm here for the likes. Yes, I'm trying to be entertaining. Yes, this is what I do. But you're like above it. No, you're the philosopher. You're like, well, you know, I'm going to be a gentleman and I'm going to be nice about it.
But he's not being
Let me
nice.
spend another 3 minutes on trying to insult him.
The moment anyone talks like this, you must understand there is no reasoning with them. They're not trying to have a dialectic. They're not trying to have a dialogue. They're not trying to have a debate. They're not even trying to have a diatribe. They just want to score points for their side.
How
Dude,
ironic.
You literally believe that under every single right-winger is a Nazi. This is why you bring up the World War II arguments everywhere you walk, everywhere you go. The moment someone even remotely displays some hint of right-winginess, it's like, you're like the Nazis, aren't you? Come on, tell me. Tell me, like,
exactly.
What are your thoughts about the Jewish people? This is what you do on Twitter. This is what now, I don't think like there's anything wrong with it. Like, you do you, buddy. You know, if this is how you like to have the conversations, fine. But then don't say, oh, why aren't other people interested in debates when I just go around and imply that they're Nazis? Why aren't other people engaging with me properly when I just try to slander their name and insult them the first thing I do? I don't know, just some guy. Why do you think that is?
What? Yeah, what?
All V's interested in is
Why does
getting
no one want
backlash
to
from other
engage
right-wingers
with
that
you?
he's owned the lib. So he will say whatever crazy shit he needs to, so these people will fondle his balls.
Isn't this like a cinema? Like, aren't we seeing the biggest projection here? Like, why are you making this video, if not to get likes from your left-wing audience and to show how you own the conservative? Like, this is literally what you're doing. The difference between you and I is that I'm not criticizing you for it. You know, I'm tolerate. Why can't you be more tolerant, just some guy? Why can't you tolerate other people for doing the exact same thing you're doing?
Good question.
Like this.
I do not believe in equality whatsoever, due to the fact that two brothers in the same household are not equal.
What are you even talking about?
I mean, I don't know how to make it more simple.
Yeah,
I thought
we
it was
went over
really
it,
simple.
but-
Yeah, like two brothers in the same household are not equal. Like, you can use any metric you want, get them to play chess, run 100 miles, do mathematics, they will not be equal. Two human beings are not equal. Now, again, why am I talking about it? Well, it seems I need to remind just some guy that our point of contention was the fact that you didn't appreciate that I do not respect the concept of equality. So I made a skit when I used it as a joke to point out why equality is ridiculous. It is an
Equality isn't ridiculous.
anti-humanist ideology.
Yes, yes,
The only
it is
way to
anti-humanist.
achieve
I agree.
equality would be to force a person to be just as equal as someone else, and this is cruel. As I said before, it would be like forcing you to respect me the same way you respect your mother, so that everyone can get equal respect from you. Right? This is what communism actually teaches. Now, if you are being lost with this, maybe you should study your own fucking ideology a little bit more before
good
getting
question.
triggered that right-wingers don't
But
respect equality.
JSG doesn't
Maybe
have
instead
an
of having this
ideology, according to
superficial
him.
understanding of the world through World War II and Marvel movies, maybe you should read some papers about diversity,
anything.
inclusivity, and
Read
equality, and
literally
then read some
anything.
more about diversity, inclusivity, and equity, so that you can understand what I'm talking about, so that when I'm talking about this shit, we're on the same page. Like, read some Engels and see what he believed about equality. Read the Little Red Book of Mao and see what he believed about equality. This is what I'm talking about. Maybe this is why it's flying past you, because you're trying to defend an ideology without actually understanding what it's preaching. Your definition of quality and equality do not seem to align to those of what the academics are saying. And I am using their definition, so maybe this is why it's confusing. I'm generally struggling to understand, because I thought that I was being very simplistic in my explanation, but for some reason, he keeps missing the point. And I don't know if he's doing this because he's disingenuous, or he generally doesn't want to engage with the argument.
I think he might
which
be
is also
too
fine.
dumb.
You don't have to engage with the argument, you know? Just get the bukkake of likes, like other YouTubers are doing.
Equality doesn't mean every human being is exactly the same, dude, and no
No, I didn't even say that. I didn't say that every human being is exactly the same. I said that not every human being has the same value. And I gave the example of when you hire a chef, you're hiring him based on the value of his cooking. I don't know how to simplify this anymore. I'm sorry. This is like the bare minimum I can go. I can't go any lower. Like, maybe you guys can help it simplify it further in the comment section. Like, help me out. Taskete, F1, F1. I genuinely want to have a conversation here. Like, I'm not even trying to make fun. Like, you see, I'm not insulting him or anything like that. But it's like, how can I explain it more simply than I have already did?
Rational person arguing for equality thinks it does. What's being argued is that all...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that. See, this is the problem. He assumes that the people who created the ideology of equality, which are Marxists, he assumes that they're rational individuals and not just power-hungry individuals that are going to use whatever argument sticks in order for them to lead a revolution and gain power.
All people have the same intrinsic value as human beings and should be afforded the same rights and privileges in society and under the law. That's the left's actual opinion.
No, that's not. I'm sorry, literally, that is not. They do not believe in that. The left believes in diversity, inclusivity, and equity right now. And what you said does not translate in their beliefs.
What logical reason do you have to object to this? Why don't you present...
Yeah, because you're using the Mott and Bailey tactic.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
I think I even said in my video that I believe in equality under the law.
As I
instead of repeating 10-year-old 4chan hot takes.
So I don't even go on 4chan. Like, if I were repeating 10-year-old 4chan hot takes, then I would get under your skin. Just some guy says, it's funny that the right were saying the same thing in Europe 100 years ago. I wonder if that's why they built those camps where people could concentrate. Yeah. So literally, this is why I even made the video. The entire argumentation on Twitter can be summed up as Marvel movies and World War II. Like, this is the extent of human knowledge that these people are allowed to bathe in.
Oh, sick burn, dude. You got me.
It's not a burn. It's
he did
true.
get you.
It is absolutely true. Every single time I argue with a leftist on Twitter, he's going to talk about Thanos, he's going to bring up Iron Man, and then he's going to bring up the Nazis. I mean, there are other regimes that exist right now in the world. There are other dictatorships that are doing atrocities right now. Those are never brought up. It's just the Nazis. It only happens on Twitter. Like, if you go on other platforms or if you talk to people in the real world, the Nazis don't even come up in Marvel movies, not even then. As I mentioned, it used to also be Harry Potter, but for some reason, Harry Potter doesn't get mentioned anymore.
Oh, because J.K. Rowling's
I've been watching all those Marvel movies I've never seen because I don't care about the MCU.
My main man, please don't have main character syndrome. I do argue with other people on Twitter as well. My statement was that on Twitter, people only speak in Marvel movies and World War II.
But that's how he speaks.
You're speaking in World War II, but that doesn't negate the fact that there are other individuals that speak in Marvel movies. Not everything applies to you.
He also speaks in Marvel movies, though.
I do have
it's actually part of his shit,
people
so...
attacking me on Twitter. You're not the only one, just so you know.
I've been reading all them history books and watching history shows, so I can notice when midwits try to do the same stupid shit that led to a world war nearly 100 years ago.
Really? So you're saying that
really?
That the Weimar Republic had to pay to the Allies for losing a war. That's not the reason for World War II. Communists allying with the Nazis to invade Poland together, making Hitler feel secure about his geostrategical position and his influence against the Allies, that doesn't have anything with starting the war. No. What started the war, I guess, is people on Twitter. Like, they were just saying, hey, maybe we need to hire based on quality. And all of this equality nonsense, to hire based on quality. And all of this equality nonsense, I don't think it works. Do you know that throughout human history, even the concept of equality didn't exist? Like, if you look at feudalism...
He is bullying him at this point,
They believed in aristocracy.
He deserves it, though.
They believe in the peasantry. They didn't believe in equality. Like this is such a new concept. And to claim that this concept is responsible for World War II shows such a significant lack of understanding that I believe it would be rather simpler to just debate Marvel movies with you, even though you haven't seen them. Because at this point, I don't think you read the ideology. I do not think you know what Nazism is. I do not think you know what communism is. If I ask you to tell me the difference between Nazism and fascism, I would be shocked if you know.
Oh,
I don't
hell
believe you
no.
know what ideology the
Usually a
United
border.
States used to have during this
No,
time.
you wouldn't know.
You have like this very simplistic understanding of history that
He'd
comes
be so
from
confused
Twitter.
by that.
This
Yeah.
is the vibe I get, and I do think that you believe any right-wing person, regardless from what place of the world they are, that they're a secret Nazi in disguise, and that World War III is literally around the corner if more people start talking freely on Twitter. But this is why you're there, right? In order to prevent people from making statements on Twitter, in order to prevent World War III. You must think so high of yourself, right? Like you're probably the beacon of peace, the paragon of justice that is preventing the next genocide from happening by calling out random twats on Twitter.
Because they think it's based. Ah, damn, you got me. You are so wrapped up in your ideology, you don't even hear what you're saying.
Well, you know, like at least I know my ideology. There's
True.
that difference. Like at least I know what I'm
I know what
talking about.
I know.
The lesson
Reality,
we learned from
you
the
know.
insanity of 20th century Europe is to never let that happen
We went through
again.
this stuff,
So when
you know.
someone starts talking the same, these people don't
See, literally, like he thinks. I think like
Crazy.
he is the guardian of Jewish people. Like if you had a time machine and just sent some guy back into the past, none of this would happen. The World War II would not take place. but that's okay. We have him now. So I guess World War III is going to be prevented because he is there on Twitter calling out right-wingers.
have any equality bullshit. The only response we should have is, hey, shut that shit down. Because we already know where that goes.
We? Who's we? Do you have multiple personality disorder? Like who's this we you're talking of?
And the last time I checked, the people who think like you lost.
If you look at, I'm pretty sure the United States believed in equality when they fought the Nazis. But it is true, like the communists also won, and then they had the Cold War with the United States, and then the communists lost. By the way, there is also the concept of freedom and liberty that's more important than equality. But you know, that's what the United
freedom
States
and
used
liberty.
to believe in.
The liberty, fuck
In
freedom,
human history,
liberty.
Most of Europe were doing some offshoot of Marxism. I will explain what Marxism is to you right now, right? Because I actually had it in my country. Like, I benefited from it.
Listen, I'm not going to fall for your half-ass straw man.
Well,
Straw
yeah,
man.
you're not.
Oh, his
of course.
lived
You're just going to
experiences.
defend the concept of equality without knowing what it is. That's what you're doing.
You made an argument about valuing quality people. I gave an example, probably the
Well, the argument also talked about equality, and you got upset when I attacked the concept of equality. That's why we're here.
best example of someone playing out that idea. And you respond with, what about Marxism, bro? We ain't talk.
Yeah, we are talking about
Exactly.
Marxism. I
Thank
literally said
you.
that the modern left believes in equality. That is Marxism.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry if you didn't get the reference.
No, he didn't
about
get the
Marxism,
reference.
socialism, or communism. We're talking about your retarded ass idea. Early 20th century Europe is what happens when someone plays out your dumb ass idea.
No, literally not. And by the way, even if you were to go with that and you say that, well, the Nazis believed in equality and that's what started World War II, I would disagree with that take as well. The Nazis believed on racial
Went over this,
hierarchies.
yes.
That's why Nazism is bad. It has nothing to do with quality, right? Racial hierarchies are the problem. Do you know what modern ideology also talks about racial hierarchies?
What did JSG respond
It's
to
not
me?
the right wing,
He's
I'll tell you
desperate.
that.
And that's not to the extreme either. It's literally
And
just
he's mad.
implementing it. If you think I'm wrong, name an instance where people have tried your idea that didn't result in prejudice, discrimination, oppression, or genocide. And again, I'm not talking...
I mean, any ideology on planet Earth results in prejudice and oppression. Like you cannot even create an ideology that wouldn't have oppression. Like, for example, France is a secular nation. So they believe that in a public space you should not display any religious symbols. It's codified into their laws. But you have migrants that came to France which are Muslims. And they believe that women should wear the burqa, which is a religious symbol. The French government is literally oppressing them by telling them that they are not allowed. Alternatively, if the French government would side with the immigrants, then it would oppress the atheists who want to create a secular constitution. And they believe that, no, like in France, you shouldn't display religious symbols in school. Like, someone is going to get oppressed. There is no way around it.
Yeah.
If you have, like in Britain, you had the scandals where Muslim parents said that they don't want LGBTs to be taught in schools, and they protested against it. The government is oppressing them. Now, if the government was to give in to what the Muslims care, they would oppress the LGBT community. The world is not so simple. It's not in black and white. There are sometimes factions of people that are diametrically opposed, and you gotta side with one over the other. And thus you'll have oppression. Every ideology, every country, every nation, throughout human history, throughout the world, has not been able to fix this. Which is why it's safe to assume that oppression and prejudice is within human nature. However, to go from that and to claim that just because oppression and prejudice exists, genocide will always happen, that is a stretch that I disagree with. The United States, before World War II, didn't have any genocide, and it also didn't believe in equality. Their ideology, from your point of view, would be considered right-wing as fuck. Like the people that stormed the beaches of Normandy are so right-wing that they would look at me and they would probably call me a left-leaning degenerate. And yet, I believe that their ideology is the one that didn't cause genocides. Unlike the communists, unlike the Nazis, unlike the fascists, their ideology was the correct one that I would side with. This is what I'm talking about. I know you probably will misconstrue my point. I know you'll probably not want to understand what I'm saying. But given the chance, if you could go back in time
He's
and
just
live
lying.
in the Soviet Union where they championed equality
go
as
live
a
in the
state
Soviet
religion,
Union.
or you could
Have
live
fun.
in the United States where those evil bigots that stormed the beaches of Normandy were, who believed in equality, by the way, I think you would choose the United States. I would do too, by the way. I think it was a great system, even though it was too right-wing even for my tastes. However, it didn't lead with genocide.
About some sport or profession, and neither
where
are
would you rather live?
We're both talking about people in general, just living in a society. So
yeah, but like even then, I do not disagree with the take. Like the moment a person living in a society decides to be a detriment for the society, like for example commits arson, then yeah, he has less value than the firefighter. This is why the arsonist gets locked up. Like his human rights get to be infringed by being put in a prison. Like, we deprive him of liberty so that he stops burning buildings. And I'm bringing this up because we notice a trend in sympathizing with the criminal. The Kyle Rittenhouse is a great example. But then you also have changes in legislation in California, for instance, where if a criminal steals less than $1,000 worth of good, the police isn't allowed to arrest him. That type of
get
stuff.
away with it.
That type of ideology, when you treat criminal as the victim, makes society become the victim. Because now you have entire stores, even CNN made an article, where entire stores have locks on them, on their merchandise. Like if you want to buy something from a convenience store, you have to call in the clerk to unlock the merchandise. Like that's not normal. I don't have that shit insane. In my country. Now, if you like living like that, but I have a feeling it's not in your backyard, so you probably don't
NIMBY.
care. That's fine. But the only way to get there is with the ideology that yes, everyone has value. Even the criminal has value. But that's not correct, right? Like, the criminal should be condemned. The criminal should be shamed and ostracized. And by the way, you know, like, left-leaning people are, from what I see, not you necessarily, but from what I see, are more abhorred at a racist joke than someone mugging someone else. Like, you get to see this in the papers. I don't think this is normal. I don't think this is for a healthy society. When someone making a racist joke or a bad take is considered more of a villain than someone else that's mugging another person.
That's the example I want. Find one, if you can.
So, do you know who didn't have those? The Americans. The Americans did not have an ideology where they believed X is oppressing Y, Y needs to rise up against X, seize the welfare redistributed.
No, instead we created the ideology that all men are equal. You know that thing you disagree with?
Fuck
No,
off.
no,
Fuck
you
off.
don't say
Oh,
all men are
fuck
equal.
off.
All men are created equal.
Yes,
That's
thank
the difference.
you.
Created means that at birth they get inalienable
Thank you,
rights.
V.
but they're
Holy
not
shit.
Equal. Equal is what communists believe.
Yes.
See, no, this is literally a fundamental of understanding. You do not know the ideology that you're defending, which is why you do not know what I'm talking about. So there's no point in continuing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Probably continue it on a live stream though, so I can make 4 videos on it. But yeah, no, like my assessment is that just some guy has a very flimsy understanding of politics, and he likes to dabble into political takes on Twitter, which is fine, by the way. But this is why, like, you're going to run into misunderstandings. Like,
We'll
if
stop
you
pretending to be
want
aware.
to dabble into politics, at least do some superficial reading. All right, like the Nazis didn't start World War II because they believed in quality. That's like the dumbest thing.
I know.
Especially when the Jewish people under Weimar were bringing a lot of quality in the financial sector, in the entertainment sector, in the innovation sector, in medicine, so on and so forth. Right? The idea that the Germans started believing in quality, so that no, absolutely not. Anyway, historians disagree with you. I will see you guys in the comment section, and I will probably talk more about this on the live stream. There's 10 more minutes, but this already took 1 hour to do, so I don't want to bore you with a 2-hour video. And I don't have beef with just some guy. Like, this is entertaining. I do.
What do you want to do? I'm pausing it now.
Discussions with people on the internet. Hope he's not upset, but he does seem a little bit salty given the...
So, will we watch V's video? Do you want to keep going, or do you think that we've now...
This topic is basically so. I kind of still want to do my own video on it, just because.
I think that's yeah. I didn't want to go super long tonight, guys. I thought we'd just have a little bit of fun.
Because not everyone of my audience watches the live streams, and there's some people that I can probably lay my own smackdown.
So that's about what I wanted to do as well. So thanks everybody for watching. We had to watch a little bit of the precursor and then V's response to it, which I wasn't expecting, actually. But that was very fun. If you would like to learn some more about Just Some Guy and how he's very disingenuous, I'm going to post a whole bunch of links here.
I need to explain it in
this is to the Almighty Lolly's video on how Just Some Guy became the person that he is, where he used to be like a dude who was kind of
now it seems to be Barbie references too, right? Like, so if you talk about
stuff in Hollywood, and then has become now just a leftist kind of lunatic.
Hello, aristocratic.
Anywho, I was actually kind of happy that V went live there, so that we had about like an hour of us and about an hour of V.
When you say quality, I kind of feel like quality is part of capitalism. Like if I have a business right now,
I don't think we stole his video.
I want to hire a good artist to draw for my video.
Everybody here, I think, mostly went over there and gave you some thumbs up. So before we head out, I'm going to read the super chats.
The only thing that I care is how old he is. Like if he's over 18.
Which were Scene for Sin for 20A says, for my girl Aiden and my favorite utensil. Thank you. Supreme Emperor Kiza for £5 says, Spoon, you just want to tag team JSG and utterly smash the shit out of him, even worse than your average F-slur orgy in San Francisco audience, ? Supreme Emperor, well, do you, Spoon?
What? Well,
Spoon?
What was the question?
Spoon, you want to tag team against JSG and
I'm
utterly
gonna
smash...
tag this jackass. I'll fly solo.
Okay. You can just tell it. Want to utterly smash the shit out of him. Even worse than your average F-slur orgy in San Francisco audience. That was the question from Supreme Emperor Keza. Galactic Emperor Slurm for 5 says JSG is a midwit. In his video, V says something like JFC World War II must be like their foundational myth. It is their foundational myth. You're completely correct, though, Galactic Emperor. It is their foundational myth. Tato Chip says, on the English second language joke, ESLs, I think, tend to have a better grasp of the English language because we actually need to get English degrees. I do agree with that. I absolutely think that V has a better understanding of the English language, hence understanding the relationship between the word merit and the word, what was the word that he used that JSG got so upset about? Quality, yes. Quality. That merit and quality are synonymous words. GEC 812 for 2A just gave us a bunch of laughing emojis. And then Galactic Emperor Schlurm for 2 says, Nick Ricada did not absolutely buck break JSG. Yeah, go into, we're not going to get to it tonight, but go into YouTube and type in Nick Ricada, just some guy, and you'll see a complete and utter just devastation. Lance for 5 says, after yesterday's EFAP coverage of Secret Invasion, the only cramps I support are for the scrolls. Only camps I support, not cramps. Camps I support. Yeah. I don't blame you, because from what I know about Secret Invasion, that sounds about right. Slosher for 5 Canadian says JSG can't square the fact that actual Klan members stormed the beaches of Normandy. His cartoon black and white worldview doesn't allow for it. Yeah, I know. He does have a cartoon black and white worldview.
World. Oh god, the irony.
Oh, I know. And then Big Chris for 5 says, love how libs forgot about the Japanese war crimes when they bring up World War II. Not fascist, not white. Yeah, they always just, not fascist, not white. They just don't care.
We don't care about
That's
human life
correct.
being lost as long as it's the white people being killed. Then we
as long as we don't give, as long as it's some Asians who did it, we don't give a shit. We only care if white people did it, and that's what it comes down to.
The Japanese were way worse to the Chinese than the Germans were to the Jews, which is really quite fucked up.
We don't give a we don't give a shit about loss of human life as long as it's not white, which is what they're actually saying by that, which is very interesting. Anywho, I hope you all have enjoyed. I know this is a weird stream, but I hope you've all enjoyed it, and we will see you on Wednesday because we just couldn't wait. We had to, and I didn't know if he was going to go live tonight about this, but so this was spontaneous. And I hope you did enjoy the stream. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you on Wednesday.